occurring immediately afterwards. My name is Fred Baptiste. I currently serve as chair of Brooklyn Community Board 9. And this evening, we are having a hearing with respect to the statement of needs for the city of New York. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to the district manager, who will give a brief overview with respect to the statement of needs and the relevant points for this committee, for this community board to consider this evening. And just as a reminder of housekeeping item, if you are on and you would like to comment with respect to the hearing, please use the raise hand function. After the district manager has completed his presentation, we will be able to promote you, so that way you will be able to ask your question or provide commentary. If you are calling in, please use the raise hand function using *9. *9 will raise your hand, at which point we'll be able to promote you to the panel and you will be able to address the board. At this time, I'm going to turn the chair over to our district manager, Mr. Dante Arnwine.
All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Dante Arnwine. I serve as the district manager of Brooklyn Community Board 9. We are here tonight for a public hearing for the Statement of Needs for FY 24-25 citywide facilities. If you do not have the document in front of you, if you're able to open up another screen, you can go to the Community Board 9 website. If you go to the news section of the website, the document, the Statement of Needs document will be there, and then you can follow along if you would like. So the citywide Statement of Needs for fiscal years 24 and 25 is compiled by the Department of City Planning and is the latest in the series of annual reports required under Section 204 of the City Charter. The purpose, this document is an important tool for aligning some of the administration's priorities with community priorities. And this document is for us to assess some of the proposals that the city has proposed for public spaces in our district. If you had the opportunity to go through the document prior to the hearing, I believe there weren't any active projects happening in our district, but I still wanted, this is still an opportunity for the community to offer input. If you've been interactive with the board, you've probably heard different conversations, maybe around the precinct, sanitation, so on and so forth, about city facilities throughout the district. And so I'm just going to share my screen here and go through this. If you could give me a short second. Okay. Share. Okay. Can you see that? Perfect. Okay, so let me zoom out so hopefully we can get one document. All right, you can still see that? That makes it easier to. All right, so this is the document, the citywide statement of needs that was created by the Department of City Planning. I'm not going to go through it all, but there are proposals for each borough, as you can see. This document also includes proposals from the previous fiscal year as well, 2023 to 2024 statement of needs. And so we're going to briefly go through some of the Brooklyn projects, just so you can get a sense of what this document is. Even though we in CB9, we don't have any proposals in this fiscal year, I think it's still important for folks to understand how this process works. And so as we move forward and we move into this statement of needs next year in the fall, this will also add to that as well. So I'm just going to go on. So jumping to this. So the citywide summary, this section provides the citywide overview, new and prior facility proposals based on geography. Broken down, most of it is site specific, community district specific. So a lot of these proposals you will see probably aren't borough wide, but very specific to community districts and specific sites. So you can see from table 2, these are the new proposals by facility domain. It looks like most of the proposals that you're going to see in this statement of needs this year are government facilities. And then, as you can see from the table, along with public safety, emergency services, administration for justice, next health and human services, and then core and infrastructure and transportation. So that's how it's broken down citywide for the proposals. Table 3, just briefly going over this, just shows by facility type. If it's services, government services, operations would be like a, maybe what's that called? Like a MTA site center or something. And then obviously offices, government offices as well. And so right here, you're going to be able to see breaking it down by agency, the proposals and facility type. So we're just going to go into this just a little bit. As you can see from this chart here, Brooklyn Community Boards 16 and 6, I believe that those are the only two, yeah. 16 and 6, both have new proposals to move their community board offices. That's something that I will get to just later in the document as we move into giving testimony. But you know, I think that it's important to get a feel of the different agencies and the different types of facilities that come up for question. So just pay attention to that as we continue along. I just want to note some important terms in the document. Again, this is a large document. I believe it's 225 pages. So I'm going to skip through the other boroughs and focus on Brooklyn, but just some of the terms so you can see those there. All right, so I'm going to go down to the Brooklyn proposals. There we go. So for this year, the Brooklyn proposals, new proposals, as you can see from the tannish highlighted section of this page, these proposals aren't, actually none of them are in our community district, but I do think that it's important to see what other districts, what other communities are looking to do. If you go through the document further, there is further explanation on each proposal. And so I'm just going to, since we don't have any specific proposals for Community District 9, I'm just going to pick one, which I'm going to do a community board office. And we're just going to go down so we can see the full proposal. Community Board 16. Yes. So you can see from one proposal, Community Board 16 is looking for a new office space. You can see the details of their proposal and why they're looking to increase space. I think that is extremely important, and this is why this is a community process. These spaces are public. And so, you know, it's important that folks in the community know these spaces, understand these spaces, understand their usage, and the services that they provide. And so just wanted to, you know, go through this document briefly to show you all, you know, this is what the proposals look like. These are the type of facilities that we as a community, you know, can hopefully request and advocate for through this statement of needs process. Before I turn it back over to the chair to start taking testimony, I did want to, if I can get to it, highlight that last year in the Statement of Needs 2023 to 2024, we did have a proposal in our district, which was for the expansion of the Eastern Parkway Library. And I just wanted to note that that expansion is being implemented. So all of the information for that expansion is on the BPL website. But you should be seeing, at least according to their website, sometime very soon, if not yet, construction over at the Eastern Parkway Library. And so let me see if I can find it. That's Manhattan. So this is Brooklyn. What's this, Queens? Well, yeah. Well, I'm not going to hold up anymore, Mr. Chair. I think I think we're good enough now to start taking testimony from the public.
Okay, thank you very much to the district manager for the presentation. So as noted in his presentation, there are no current projects that are slated for Brooklyn Community Board 9, but we do want to make sure that we are setting the baseline in terms of understanding the spaces and properties that we would want to have rehabilitated and perhaps considered. Historically, I know we've put in put in requests for capital and expense funding for the 71st precinct located in Brooklyn Community Board 9. Additionally, there are concerns with respect to the Department of Sanitation depot that is located also on our southern end as well. And we encourage all members of the community to, and before I go on as well, additionally, we are looking at hopefully being able to upgrade our community board office in terms of the facilities there. So that way we can expand and be able to better support the district's business. So those are just a few of the items that we've considered as a board and will be hopefully trying to advance in terms of getting funding for those initiatives. But at this time, we are going to open the floor for testimony. So if there's anyone at this time who wishes to provide testimony, please use the raise hand function, at which point we will be able to promote you so that way you will be able to provide your testimony. Per our rules of order, testimony will be limited to 3 minutes. So you will have up to 3 minutes to address the board. All right, so again, please use the raise hand function. And again, if you are on joining us by phone this evening, please use the *9 button, which will help to raise your hand, and at which point we will promote you. Okay, Dante, do we have anyone who's raised their hands to provide testimony? Or did we have anybody who signed up in advance, I should ask, to provide testimony for this evening?
No, no one in advance signed up.
Okay, duly noted. All right. I call again. Are there any attendees who at this time wish to provide testimony with respect to the statement of needs? Okay, at this time, I do not see any hands raised to provide testimony. All right, we allow for a couple of minutes to see if anyone else joins. After we have concluded this public hearing, we are going to go directly into our public session for our general board meeting for the month of March for Brooklyn Community Board 9. I call again. Is there any commentary anyone has with respect to the statement of needs?
I'm sorry, Fred. I just logged on. I don't know what you were talking about.
No worries. So Dante had just presented, I think it was sent out to all members of the board. There's a statement of needs document that's created by the city on an annual basis. So I think right now we're looking at the statement of needs for fiscal year 24-25, in which the city outlines its projected projects that is going to be funding to satisfy requests that have been provided through the budget request process. So Dante was pointing out a number of initiatives in Brooklyn. That document actually has all the information for the entire city. But looking specifically at Brooklyn, there are no projects slated for Brooklyn Community Board 9. There are a couple in there that would be of interest. In terms of, I think there was one for a relocation of a district office, which is closing in one location. So the city is going to be expending funds in terms of relocating that office. And also Dante pointed out a project that was actually implemented last year with regards to the Eastern Parkway branch of the Brooklyn Public Library, where there was some renovations that were done on that facility. So that's what was reported. And at this time we are taking commentary on any of those projects, or in general, if anyone wishes to testify with respect to the potential projects to the board for our community district.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
No comment.
So if I may add, I know that we have been going through a lot of issues, especially when the weather is bad at our office. And I know that the office have been looking to relocate to get a different place. So why isn't our office part of that agenda, part of that look for relocation?
And that is an excellent question. And I think that's part of what we want to consider. I think we've been working administratively in terms of trying to secure another space. But I think it might be one of those things where the conversation needs to be had as a board in terms of escalating that and you know, in terms of making sure it's something that's added to the statement of needs for the district, where it is a priority. You know, we want to be able to make sure that there is a space that is conducive for the board operations, which would include making sure that there are satisfactory meeting spaces, you know, making sure that the staff has a decent working environment. And again, I think just being able to support a number of board activities that we would like to do in the future.
You know, I would also add, you know, we honestly don't know how government is going to be changed in its entirety because of the pandemic. You know, we have this hybrid system that seems to be taking effect in many different spaces. And so, you know, it would be nice to have a board office where, you know, when we need to do a public hearing, we don't have to look for a space. Reality is there's not a lot of public space in our community district that is free. So it would be nice to be able to have a space, an office where we could do all of this kind of in-house. You know, I think that would make it much easier and connect people to the board itself as well. And, you know, if we have a big enough space, hopefully it's just more than an office, it would be a community space.
Okay, thank you for the question. Are there any other members of the board or the community who wish to testify with regards to the statement of needs document? So again, I announce if you would like to testify, if you're an attendee, if you're joining us this evening and would like to speak on the statement of needs or have questions, please use the raise hand function or *9 if you are joining us by phone, and we'll be able to promote you and we can take your testimony or question. Yes, Suki, we see you.
I'm just wondering if it would be possible for us to get a meeting with somebody from OMB and or some of the relevant city agencies regarding some of our top longstanding priorities so that we can, you know, everyone can ask them what's going on, you know, why is the money not being approved or is being approved, or you know, what do we need to do to advance some of our priorities, et cetera. You know, just to be able to directly have a conversation with them instead of getting one-line answers in the budget documents. If it's possible to arrange that, you know, before the end of this year.
No, I agree. It's a point well taken. I think it helps us better understand the process, and at which point, you know, it helps us shape what conversations we need to be having and the timing. And yeah, and I think it's very necessary as well, because I think we've had a number of things that we've requested over the years that for some reason never end up getting funded, or we, to your point, we get the short one answer: it's not funded, it's not budgeted. So it'd be very helpful. I think it'd be helpful for the board and for the community at large to understand this process better and see what we can do to make some of these things happen. No, but I appreciate the comment. And Dante, did you have anything you want to add with respect to that?
No, that's a great thought. I can't, honestly, I don't know how inviting they'll be, but I will definitely make such a request. But note, this process Even other community boards, you know, have similar questions, you know, in my conversations with district managers. How are these certain facilities getting here? And so I think this is actually a good point. And I think it would be nice for people to kind of understand what OMB does. It is, it's the money. It's the money agency. And so I think that that would be extremely helpful for folks to be able to interact with that agency. So that note, that's noted, and I will work to do that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, are there any other questions or testimony that anyone wishes to provide to the board at this time? Okay, I call one up. I see Ms. Robertson.
I have to apologize for coming in so late. If you could please, in one word, what are we testifying to, please? I have to apologize immensely for being late. Because this is for, I'm sorry, Fred, what is this for again?
This is a hearing that we're required to have for the charter for the statement of needs. The statement of needs is a document that the city produces every year. So we're required to provide commentary on that.
Okay.
So yeah, Dante gave a presentation earlier. And actually, I believe the document went out to all the board members and is available as well on the website.
Okay.
So if anyone has any questions now, or you can also send questions or comments later on as well.
Very good.
The district manager will, and the district office team will craft a response on behalf of the board.
Very good. Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay. Are there any additional questions or comments with respect to the statement of needs? All right, I make one final call. Are there any questions or comments with regards to the statement of needs? Ms. Westerdahl, you see.
What if we have comments later because we're not as informed as we might like to be? Where can we send those?
Which is actually a perfect segue. So at this time, as we are now at 6:58, we're going to be beginning our general board meeting at 7 p.m. I do want to thank everyone who's joined us this evening and listened to the presentation of the district manager with regards to the statement of needs. So as discussed earlier, so we do not have any items for Community Board 9 at this time, but there are a number of priorities that we want to look at in the future going forward. Specifically, we mentioned, and I will, Ms. Westerdahl, thank you. So we are going to be looking at a number of priorities that we wish to add, including hopefully an expansion of our Brooklyn community, our community board office. We're also looking potentially at improving the space of the 71st precinct, which has been a long time ask for the community board. And additionally, we're looking at making sure that there is the sanitation depot in Clarkson is also addressed as well. So those are a number of the things we wish to continue the conversation. For those who wish to provide any testimony later on, you can please feel free to reach out to the district office, who will be able to take the testimony and incorporate that as part of our community board response. So the email is, and Dante, correct me if I'm wrong, it's bk09-1@cb.nyc.gov. Again, contact the community board office at bk09-1@cb.nyc.gov. We would ask that you please send any commentary by the close of business on Friday. Does that work, Dante? Close of business on Friday, so that way the district office will be able to compile and draft a response to the Office of Management, OMB, Office of Management and Budget, with respect to the process. I do want to thank everyone again who's joined this evening. The document, for those who wish to continue to review, has been sent out to the board members and is available on our website as well. So you can look that over, and if you have any additional questions or comments, you can make that at that time. All right, so we have concluded the public hearing for the month. At this time, we are now going to go into the public session of Brooklyn Community Board 9 for the month of March 2023. I welcome all those who've joined us. My name is Fred Baptiste. I serve currently as the chair of Community Board 9. So at this time, we are going to waive the reading of the rules of conduct. Just in general, I just want to express that the spirit of the rules of conduct are that we are going to be respectful of all speakers. So we will not have the floor and able to express their ideas. We'll be respectful even in disagreement. It's okay for us to disagree, but we just, we can avoid being disagreeable about it as well. I think the diversity of thoughts and ideas is what's going to make us strong and help us to be able to develop solutions. In terms of housekeeping, if you are joining us by phone, please use the *9 function at the appropriate time to raise your hand. When we do reach the public commentary section, we will be able to acknowledge you and promote you so you'll be able to speak during the public commentary. If you're also on the phone, the *6 button serves as the mute and unmute button. So if you're on by phone, once you raise your hand, you will receive a prompt asking you to unmute. At that point, you will hit *6 and you will be able to speak and address the board. So at this time, we are now going to move on in the agenda to our first item, which is the co-naming of Crown Street between Troy and Albany. And I'm going to butcher the name. So that is the co-naming. At this time, I will ask, is there a representative for the applicant? Is the applicant here this evening? I'm sorry,
Yes.
was that?
Yes, there
Yes.
is.
Okay, so at this time, we would ask that you take the floor. Please tell us a little bit about your organization, a little bit of the history, for the board this evening.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for having me. My name is Rabbi Joseph Simpson. I'm the principal of the school located on the corner of Crown and Albany. It actually occupies most of Albany Avenue and a substantial amount of Crown Street. It's a corner building. This corner building is a school that has been there now for the last 30 years. I remember seeing it going up when I was in school myself, not as a student, obviously, but as someone who was already in education. And it was a very exciting moment for the community when that building went up. And in the course of the last 30 years, we've actually had thousands of children who have gone through our school, who today are leaders in many, many communities all over the United States, and for that part, all over the world. And so we have the great opportunity to provide this education for them. And of course, we are a centerpiece in Crown Heights, where parents send their children to our school, and because of the success that we have in educating our children. So this school actually started in Russia about 120 years ago. It was started by the fifth Chabad rabbi, the fifth Lubavitcher rabbi in Russia. And the yeshiva then in Russia survived through various upheavals and wars, relocating to Warsaw and then Poland, and finally to China during World War II. The previous Lubavitcher rabbi, when he came to America in 1940, he immediately established the school upon arriving in America, having just escaped the war-torn Europe. He encouraged the continuity of Jewish life, traditions, and culture in America. And he did all of that by establishing the school and asking his followers to reach out to people living in the community and beyond our community to give them the opportunity to rebuild and to be able to establish this beautiful educational institute. Our school has been extremely successful. We right now have close to 700 students, and we're kind of busting at the seams. And that's why if you happen to drive by the corner of Crown and Albany, you will notice how we are building. We are expanding the building. We're adding floors, and we're adding, which will give us an opportunity to add classrooms and all sorts of recreational opportunities for our students and for the community as well. During the COVID-19 pandemic, when the building wasn't able to be used, we were able to transform that building as a rehab center for people who had difficult times with the COVID-19, and this became a community center for people to come and be able to help themselves, get themselves together after having been ill and sick and quite sick from the COVID virus, to help them recover from the pandemic. So today, after 30 years that we are in existence, we are very proud of our school. It has a rich history, and we continue providing the education to our students. The building on Albany and Crown also serves as a community center where there are various parties that take place, weddings, bar mitzvahs, that community uses as a community center. And so it's not just the school. The school is, of course, during the day, but during the evening hours, it is also used as a place for community families to be able to come together and enjoy their whatever events, their happy events that they have. So, in light of all that I have just presented, we are hoping that we will be able to bring even a greater status to our school by being able to add the name Tomchei Temimim Way. Tomchei Temimim is the name of the organization, to somehow upgrade and to give honor to the school that is a community school for all to have and to be able to enjoy and to be able to be proud of. And that's why we're coming to the Community Board 9 and presenting it to you for you to be able to accommodate us in our request.
Okay, thank you very much, Rabbi. And if you could, I'm going to learn how to say it correctly. Could you repeat the name of the school again?
So the name that we generally use is the United Lubavitcher Yeshiva, but the Hebrew name that we use is Tomchei Temimim. Tomchei Temimim.
Tomchei Temimim.
Yeah, you got it. That's beautiful.
Okay. There we go. All right. Thank you very much, Rabbi.
Sure.
All right. Okay, so this was presented to the Transportation Committee at their meeting this month, and it was approved unanimously. It is being brought before the board for consideration this evening. Are there any questions for the applicant at this time? We can take a couple of questions. Let's see. All right, we will take, I see 4 hands up. Speakers list I'm going to take, I see Mr. Aline, I see Ms. Westerdahl. Dante, I see 2 attendees with hands up. Can you tell me who they are? We'll add them to the list.
Yes, Rabbi Berman has his hand up. I have Chris, that's all he's got. And then Samsung.
Okay, we will take, and Samsung. Okay, I see 4 names. We have Kyrie Aline, we have Teresa Westerdahl, we have Rabbi Berman, we have Chris, and phone, I believe with Samsung. All right, we're going to close on those questions. Kyrie, you have the floor.
Yes. Hi, good evening, everyone. And thank you for your presentation today. I wanted to also thank community, but most of us, many of us were born and raised after the school had become in existence. So thank you for that. I do have a couple of questions. So in the start, and I was just reading, and as you were speaking, so from Russia, the gentleman came here, we founded this school, and it's now currently located on Albany and Troy. And the school has done so much great for the community. Our members from
Yeah, I apologize, Kyrie. Your phone is coming
members
in
from
and
all
out.
walks of life attend this school? Yeah, it's a little messed up. So sorry.
Yeah, could you repeat your
Actually,
question?
can we change my Wi-Fi? Sorry, thank you. Oh, I had two questions. So I wanted to know, does this school accept members tend to go there and attend the different classes?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Kyrie. It's really breaking up bad.
Someone maybe repeat.
Events that isn't. I also wanted.
Yeah, Kyrie, I'm sorry. It's really a bad signal. I'll tell you what, can you try and see if you can reconnect and we'll come back to you on the list. Is that okay?
Yes, thank you.
Let's do that then. Okay, Ms. Westerdahl, we see you.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for the presentation. I'm just curious about the school. Is this a private school, a public school? Can anybody go there? Is it adults? What's the age group for the school? And I just want to know who goes there and what are they learning? I know about the school, but I really don't know that much, honestly. So I'm really glad that I'm able to ask this question.
Okay,
So I'd just like to know a little more information and what advantage it would be to naming the street. Is there any advantage other than historical reasons? Thank you.
Right. So first of all, let me answer your question in terms of the actual school itself. This is a school with many branches to it. This particular area that we are on, which is Albany and Crown, is the preschool through grade 8. So here is where we, provide the education for the young children. And once they graduate our program, they move on to high school, and then they move on to the higher levels of learning. And this is the actual branch of the elementary department. The school is open to everyone. We also have government programs, and the school is open for everyone, both in terms of the education and in terms of being able to utilize our halls and the facilities to be able to host various programs. I know that the Jewish Community Council has used it. And it's obviously available for everyone to be able to be used. It is a private school, but yet we're open in terms of helping anyone that we are able to in any form or shape. In terms of why we would like for the name to be on the street is, and like I said before, it adds a certain status to the school that it already has. And by naming the street, which everyone is very familiar with, because of the thousands of children that have gone through the system and the families who live in Crown Heights, who live in our community, we feel that it would be the proper honor for our school and for the education that we provide by being able to have that name attached to the street of Crown Street. Right now, the school is known as the Lubavitcher Yeshiva on Crown Street. We would like to upgrade that by actually having the street, the name of the school as well. And that's why we are asking that it be kindly done so that we would be able to have that as well, and to be able to be proud of the street that the school is situated on.
Okay, thank you for that. Next, we will see Rabbi Berman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Rabbi Simpson. I just want to say I was the first class. I studied in this school in '93. I think it was the second year it was open. I was the oldest class, and I provided a letter of support for the school. I think this school is unique because of its history. It really represents Jewish survival throughout terrible and dark times, throughout 2 wars. And the fact that the previous Rebbe founded the school in America on the day he arrived, escaping, the horrible persecution that was going on in Nazi Germany, escaped the Germans. It really is a sign of Jewish survival. And therefore, I feel it fits the criteria, both in terms of impact on the community and in terms of its rich history. For a street naming, the city council has a criteria and it fits all the checks. So therefore, I strongly support the street naming of Crown Streets. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rabbi Berman. Kyrie, I see you're back. Are you reconnected? Yeah, Kyrie, are you on? All right, he might still be having some issues, so we'll move on, we'll come back. Warren, I see you.
Hi, everybody. It's Warren. Good to see everyone. Rabbi, as an accolade, I am just really impressed with the history of your school and the permutations you went through to bring the school here. So I have 2 questions. The first one is, the street naming that you're interested in is between 2 discrete streets, correct? Albany and Troy?
Right, avenues, right.
Okay. And the second question is, your school has a majority of real estate on these streets?
I wouldn't say we have most of Albany Avenue.
Okay.
I would say probably 80 or 90% of Albany Avenue. And then we have on Crown Street, we have a substantial amount of land as well. It would be hard for me to tell you exactly how much, but the school is a big school on that corner. You see, it's the fact that it's on a corner, Albany and Crown, it stands out. Anyone who drives by, anyone who is in the neighborhood just sees it. It's a school that is very, very visible. And yes, on Crown Street, it does have, probably 200-300 feet on Crown Street as well.
And just one last thought. So a yeshiva, in terms of other entities in our district, is equal to like a Catholic school? It's the same type of institution?
Correct. It's a private school. There's a
Excellent.
private.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Kyrie.
Okay, Fred, if you can hear me.
It's a very bad signal. The audio is really bad.
A little better.
Yeah, the audio
Okay,
is
hold
bad,
on.
Kyrie.
What about now? Oh
That
my
was better.
goodness, thank you so much. I'm like, I'm fighting with this Wi-Fi. Good evening, sir, and thank you again for your presentation.
Good evening.
And to all of my colleagues who spoke before, I agree with everything that was said. And so I would like to start with the question that Teresa was asking. That's what I was curious to know. Was this school a private school or public school? I know I have a Jewish college also located in Brooklyn. And so I wanted to know if it was a private or public school. I too wanted to speak to what Warren was asking in terms of the occupancy of the blocks. How much property does your school have on the blocks? So that was answered. However, it seems to me that this school, though rooted in great tradition, is similar to the Catholic schools within our district. Also, the schools that embrace African American history as well. And these schools aren't being named after a whole block in a community where other people and other residents dwell. So I would have to say that's my only concern, is that we would name the block, two major blocks that have a multitude of different diversities and cultures that live there, that are residents there, who have been here, and our families have been here before. That predates the 1940 or 30 years ago, 40 years of this school's opening. So that's what I would say. I'm so happy for all that has been given to the community, but with the same regards, there are plenty Catholic schools, and you said yes, that this school is similar, and we don't name the streets after them. Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, so at this time, we have two more on the list. I see Chris. Can you promote Chris from the attendees list? And the Samsung phone, I guess it's the phone, if you could promote them as well, so that way they can provide, ask their questions.
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, Rabbi Simpson. Thank you so much for sharing your comments earlier. I have a couple of questions, and the first is that you said that at 700 students, you're busting at the seams. That was the phrase that you used. And I wanted to know if there was any plans to grow the physical space of the school to accommodate more students. The second question I have is, I know that Lubavitchers were challenged by, I don't know if it's New York City or New York State, to teach a more secular education. And given that the school is also used as a community center, will you be moving towards introducing any type of secular education within that school? And then third, you did mention that you own quite a bit of property on and around the street that you would like to be renamed, but have you thought about just maybe changing the signage on the building first? Thank you.
Okay, so the answer to the first question in terms of space, yes, we are actually right now in the process of building. We're adding 21,000 square feet to the building that we already have now. And we hope that it will be completed within the next year, or perhaps even sooner. So yes, things are tight, and that's why we are right now involved in construction to add more square footage to the building. It's actually happening. In terms of the secular studies, we have a full secular studies program in our school. From kindergarten all the way through grade 8. We always had one, and we have one, and we continue to provide that to all of our students as well. And in terms of having a name on the building, I think every building usually has a name on it describing the building. But as I've mentioned before, in addition to having that name on the building, to enhance the accomplishments of what this school has done over the years, we felt that it would be tremendously enhanced if the street that it's on would also be able to carry that name.
Okay, sir. Thank you for your explanation. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay, next we're going to recognize, I'm sorry, Sam, I see Samsung SM. I think they've been promoted already. Are you there?
Yes, they have.
Okay, I would ask if the attendee whose device is named Samsung SM, you have the floor. You can ask a question. Yes, hello? Oh, there you go. Yes, did you have a question for the applicant for the street co-naming?
Prepared.
Yeah, hello, can you hear us?
I think they logged off, Fred.
No, I see them.
You still see them?
Yeah.
Oh, there they are. Yeah, you're unmuted. You should be able to. No.
Okay. Yeah, unfortunately, we're not able to hear you at this time. Okay. All right. We're gonna have to move on then. All right. So I think that's exhausted the speakers list. We are now going to. I want to thank Rabbi Simpson. Thank you very much for coming and presenting this evening. We're going to be considering the application during the business session of the board. You are more than welcome to stay, and you can watch as well. If anything, we will definitely make sure that we get back to you with the response of the board.
Thank you very much, Fred. Thank you, and thank everyone on the board.
Thank you very much, Rabbi. Okay, we are now going to move on to the second item, or the next item on our agenda, which is a consideration of a SLA application for IGR Holding LLC, doing business as Patrick Steakhouse at 227 Rogers Avenue. Do we have the chair of public safety with us?
Of course.
Okay, always great to see you. All right, sir, you have the floor. Please introduce the application and the applicant.
Okay, great. So we have Patrick Steakhouse here, which is a renewal application. So they've already had an application in the past. They are applying for a full license. They are a restaurant. I'll let the owner, or rather an applicant representative, Mr. Agard, speak a little bit more. And then we also have Itzel Rivas here, who is the owner. They joined us both for the Public Safety Committee's meeting several weeks ago, where we were able to ask some questions just to give some relevant information to this group. Wanted to share a little bit about the basics of things like hours and space. So they are applying for a license that would go from 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and then from 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. on Fridays and Saturdays, and on Sundays from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. So again, none of those hours extend beyond 11 o'clock p.m., even on Saturdays. There are 6 to 8 employees at the restaurant. It has 35 tables and 70 seats. They do have an outdoor area, but it is an enclosed kind of backyard, as y'all know, kind of from your own familiarity with Brooklyn restaurants. It's an enclosed space that's located in the back area. Similarly, those hours don't run past 11 p.m. for the back area. We have no noise complaints from NYPD or FDNY that have been reported. And you know, without saying too much about the business, I'll let them talk a little bit about themselves, but they are a steakhouse here in Brooklyn, in our neighborhood. Oh, and you probably want to know which cross streets it's on, but this is 227 Rogers Avenue, just so folks know. I believe that is all kind of the relevant and important information. At this point, I would love to turn it over to Itzel, who I've seen has come off of mute, and to Patrick Agard as well. So please feel free to say whatever you would like to about your business.
Good afternoon, good evening, actually. It is between President and Union, the cross streets. So it's a small business restaurant. It helps the community and employs people from the community too. And it brings a service that Brooklyn needed from Black-owned businesses, which is a steakhouse. And that's about it.
That's great. That's helpful. I think welcome. Thank you for being here. I think I've covered most of what needs to be covered. The committee voted in favor of supporting this liquor license to the State Liquor Authority. Fred, I will defer to you if we have any time for questions or if you'd like to hold it for later, but you tell me if we have time for questions, and if so, we can get into that.
We can take a couple of questions. So at this time, I would ask if you have questions, please use the raise hand function, and we will try and address as many questions as possible. And I would want to remind all, all board members and attendees, please make sure they're questions and not statements. Okay, so if there are questions about the application, absolutely. But otherwise, we will, the board will debate this when we get to the business session.
A valuable clarification. Thank you. I see that Celeste has a hand raised.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Chase, you have the floor.
Yes, good evening. Just one quick question. Is Patrick's affiliated with the seafood restaurant? I think it's like 24 Karat or something like that, and the burger restaurant that's also on the same block?
No, this is the only business that I have. Is not affiliated with anything else.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. I see member Warren Burke, and then after that we have, I see one attendee with her hand up, Marley Tavlin. Take that.
Hey, it's Warren. I was just wondering, where is this located?
It's 227 Rogers between Union and President.
Between where?
Union and President.
Excellent. Okay, I look forward to, I like my steak rare. Thank you.
Warren, we got to go one day, okay?
You got it.
Thank you very much. And I do see one last hand up. I see an attendee, Marley Tavlin. Dante, if you could promote them to the panel, and we'll be able to take their question.
Marley should be.
I'm so sorry. I didn't think that I raised my hand. It must have been an accident.
Oh, okay. No
I'm
worries.
just enjoying the meeting.
No worries then, and welcome.
Thank you
Okay.
very much.
All right. Okay, so I do see one last. I see Second Vice Chair Francisco Leopold has her hand. So we'll take her question.
Yes, it's not a question. I just want to say that persons, Patrick Steakhouse is just up the block on Rogers, and persons who have patronized the place has very great reviews. They spoke very highly of the place. The ambience and also the staff. I'm just looking for the word, it just lost me, but persons spoke very highly of the place. I'm yet to visit there. I just wanted to say that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, Fred, we close with the statements.
Saw that.
Yeah.
No, okay, but thank you very much for that. So that is the last question we have for the applicant. Thank you very much for coming and presenting before the board this evening. We will be considering the application during our business session, and we'll be voting then. You are more than welcome to stay. If not, the board will definitely I'll be back in touch with you with the results of our deliberation.
Thank you.
Okay, but thank you for joining us. Okay, all right, we are now going to move on to the next item of the agenda, which is public commentary. Public commentary is for 30 minutes. Speakers are allowed up to 3 minutes to address the board. At this time, Dante, do we have anyone who's signed up for public commentary?
We've got a list.
Okay.
First, Tyrone McDonald.
Okay.
Beverly Newsom.
All right.
Candace Robinson.
Okay.
Harriet Whitfield.
Whitfield?
Whitfield, yes.
Okay.
Elaine Johnson.
Okay.
Christine Watler, W-A-T-L-E-R.
Okay.
Greg Smith Simon.
Okay.
Benita Walker.
Walker?
Yes.
Okay.
And I
All right,
see a attendee hand raised,
All right, yes, if there are any attendees who would like to be added to the list, please raise your hand.
Okay, so I see Jay Sorid.
All right, added.
We also have Felice Robertson, board member, and we have Ethan from BBG.
I had my hand up for a while. First
oh,
time that went up.
Okay, if we could, I would ask for board members, because this is public commentary, we want to make sure we afford an opportunity for the public to actually speak. As your board members, we'll be able to carry some of the conversations into new business or into the board, the business session when we get there. So I'd ask if we could defer those comments until we get there. Okay, all right, so listen, so let us begin. So I see the time is now 7:36 p.m. We are going to be going for half an hour. I need for everyone to please make sure your comments are within the time limit. If we can, I would ask the district office team, please kind of waive, or we'll try and give you 30 seconds, give you a warning when there's 30 seconds left in your time so we can make sure that we are going as quickly as possible. All right, so at this time, if you could promote Tyrone McDonald.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can, sir.
Good evening, Community Board 9. It's always great to see you. My name is Tyrone McDonald, and I'm with Nibbit Housing Services of Brooklyn. Just a couple of events that I would like to bring to your attention. Tomorrow, on Wednesday, on March the 29th at 6 p.m., we're having a how to hire a contractor webinar and also a home repair grants. Being homeowners, I'm sure many of you probably run into some issues with contractors. So we're just going to talk about vetting a contractor, going through credentials and some of the best practices regarding that area. I will put all the flyers in the chat after the presentation. Also want to make you aware that on Thursday, April the 6th, we're all having a webinar on Housing Connect. Housing Connect, which is a lottery system put together by HPD. A lot of people are baffled by it. A lot of people have questions regarding documents, immigration status, is credit taken into consideration, and so forth. So we're gonna go through all those nuts and bolts and answer any questions you may have regarding that. Once again, that's gonna be on April the 6th at 6 p.m. And I will place a flyer in the chat. And lastly, Nibbit Housing Services in cooperation with Grow Brooklyn, a legal and also credit union. We are a part of a generation to generation campaign of promoting Black wealth, where we're actually providing counseling services regarding estate planning, whether it's setting up a will, power of attorney, and so forth. Even though the campaign is targeting the African American and Black diaspora community, it's open up to anyone who is actually seeking estate planning services free of charge. And for more information, you can call NHS at 718-469-4679. And once again, I'll put that information in the chat. Thank you for your time and have a wonderful evening. I'll stick around.
Okay, thank you. Tyrone, we don't have a chat actually, but please provide that information to the district office. We will make sure that we put it as part of our e-blast. And if there's anyone who is interested in getting that information and would like to connect with Mr. McDonald, the district office has the information for neighborhood housing services for Brooklyn.
Yeah, so I'll send that during the course of the meeting to you.
Perfect, even better. Thank you very much. Okay, all right, we're going to move on to the next one. If we can adjust this as well. If there's anyone representing an entity or an agency, if we could defer you to the acknowledgement section, just so that way we can make people who wish to testify and provide, speak to the board this evening, make sure we can get as many done as possible. All right, so when we get to your name, just let us know you're with an organization. We'll make sure we acknowledge you right after we've concluded the public commentary. All right, next, if I could have, who's the next person we have, Dante?
Candace Robinson.
Okay, could you promote Ms. Robinson? Okay, and if you could also promote the next speaker as well.
Yep.
Hi.
Yeah.
Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can. Good evening.
Yes. Hello. Good evening, everyone. Hi, my name is Candace Robinson, and I joined this meeting. Well, actually, I'm a resident of the Crown Heights area, and the reason I joined this meeting is because I saw this flyer, and I wanted to, discuss what it says here. It talks about the issues like the marathons and street closings and things like that. And I just wanted to find out from the board if anything is being done, because I'll be very brief. In this area, we're by the Botanic Garden, and there's parties happening all the time. There's movie making. People are filming here all the time. And then there's the marathons. And recently now, they are doing constructions to build a new high-rise building. It's, to be short and frank, it's too much. We just don't have the spacing. And, cars are parked in driveways and bus stops at hydrants. It's really a mess. And I wanted to know if anything is really being done about it, because it's very inconvenient. I myself, there's times where I have to be circling around for parking for 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And, I just can't do it all the time. I work, I come home, no matter what time it is during the day. It could be 10 in the morning, 11 in the morning, or it could be 8 o'clock at night. And it's just a fight to find space. And I just wanted to see and hear from the board what can be done or how we can get involved to minimize all this chaos. That's all. Thank you.
No, thank you for joining us, and thank you for coming in and asking the question. Very briefly, only because we have a long agenda this evening. That is a conversation that we share with a lot of neighbors, and the district office is actually working in terms of communicating with the city. How do we better get prepared for these things? So that way we're earlier on in the process, in the planning, so that way we can discuss these things and try and minimize the impact as much as possible for these things. So I guess the answer is stay tuned. Please make sure you're calling us, but we're working on that. And thank you for joining us this evening.
Send me an email, send the board office an email, if you could. Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. Okay, the next speaker is?
Thank you.
Of course.
You're welcome.
I believe it was Harriet.
Thank you, Candace.
Hello, hi, you're welcome. Thank you.
Is it Harriet Whitfield James? Okay. There we go.
Yes, Harriet should be coming in right now.
I can't see her. Is she there?
Yes, Harriet, you're going to need to unmute. There we go.
Am I on?
We hear you.
Oh, okay. Hello, good evening. My name is Harriet Whitfield. I live at 12 Crown Street. I'm like the lady that was just on in regards to the closing of the street last Saturday from the marathon. How they, oh God, I can't think of the word. When they took our cars, oh my goodness, I can't think of the word.
When they towed
them, didn't they?
When they towed the cars off the street, it was horrible. You're running down trying to move your car so they don't tow your car. Then I had to park 3 blocks away, just about, Empire and Rogers. And then I had to walk back. I have a stroke victim husband here, so I'm rushing trying to get back. I'm not dressed properly. I didn't think that was fair on them to do that. They towed our car, but there's a dumpster out there that's been out there over 4 months. And I have called 311. I have called the company, and it's overload. People throwing their garbage trash on top, dog whatever on top, and it's the tarp that goes over the thing is flying in the street. Okay, when cars come around the corner, it blinds them. Okay, but also the real problem is, since the construction started, they have cut off half the block on parking, not just for the day, but forever. Like, you can't park there at all, no time. Okay, They don't work on Saturdays and Sundays. They come to work around 6 maybe in the morning, maybe, and they stop about 5 or 6 in the evening. So why we can't park there when they're not working? Like the lady said, we have a congestion problem now with the parking. So that is a very big problem. I think somebody should really step in and do something about that. Okay, then we have abandoned cars on the road, on our block. This is just crazy. People bringing cars to sell cars with no license plates, no tags. I have called 311. I have taken pictures of the cars. I have given them the license plates if they have the license plates, or the tags if they have the tags. And we're going back from the beginning of the pandemic with this. It's just crazy here. What can we do about this? Something really should be done about this. And I am a driver. I do have a car. I'm just like the other lady. When I come in, I got to sit for an hour or two before I can get a parking space. I don't want to park a mile away to come back to where I live at. It's not fair. So I'm, just bringing that up and hope somebody can step up and do something with that, because they're not hearing me.
Where are
Thank you.
these people living? It would be nice to know
Well,
if
well, hold on, hold on,
people
hold on,
told us where they lived
Yeah.
before.
Well, hold on.
Not
Okay.
exact address,
So Ms.
but
Whitfield,
neighborhood. Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you for the commentary, Ms. Oops, sorry, a second. Thank you for the commentary. You got a couple of things there. In terms of the parking regulations, typically when there's construction, sometimes there are alterations with respect to that. That might be a conversation we can have with DOT in terms of seeing if there's a way to at least allow that, if it's not during business hours, to see if the community can park there. So that's a conversation the district office can take from there. Absolutely hearing the points with respect to the marathons and the other special events. And I mentioned that before. Those are things that we're trying to see if we can take care of in terms of between the notice and even the frequency and how many of them there are. So that's something that we're taking care of from the district office level as well. Abandoned cars, and I would just say this in general. If we have nuisances like that, abandoned cars or cars with out-of-state plates or expired plates or things of that nature, please make sure to contact 311. And this is for anything that's nuisance. Contact 311. Make sure you log the complaint. After you've done that, I would ask everyone to please make sure you also contact the community board and give us the reference number you get from that, because from there we can track to see what's going on in terms of the progress of those things and work with the appropriate agencies. It'll usually fall between NYPD and DSNY, depending on the situation with the plates and the registration. It's an issue. It's something we're working on, but this helps us to identify where the problem spots are and the problem areas are. Ms. Whitfield, I would ask if you could please contact our district office after this, just to touch base with the district manager so that way he can get that information and we can continue working on the issue. Dante, did you have anything you want to add really quickly?
I'll do it in my report.
Okay, all right, thank you. So Ms. Whitfield, if I could ask if you could contact the district office and we can take it up from there.
Okay, thank you very much.
No, thank you for joining and thank you for your commentary. Who do we have next, Dante?
Elaine Johnson.
Okay, if you can promote Ms. Johnson, and actually, I guess the next two speakers, if you could promote them as well, so that way we take them back to back.
Okay.
Elaine Johnson, if you're online, can you please raise your hand because I don't see your name. Also, Christine Watler, if you're on, please raise your hand because I don't see your name as well. Okay, so that's Chris, got it. All right, give me one.
How do I get out of here?
It's okay. We can. We'll move you back. That's fine.
Okay. So you should be able to hear from Chris.
Okay, so let's take Chris, and then we'll come back for Ms. Johnson. Is it Ms. Watler? I think it was.
Yes.
Okay. All right. You have the floor.
Hi. Thank you, everyone. Good evening. I live at 961 Washington Avenue, and the way that the marathon was set up, I believe was in violation of the Department of Transportation's rules, in that the signage was placed on Thursday morning on the west side of Washington Avenue. And then on Friday evening after 5 o'clock, the signage for the race and to have your cars moved was then placed on the east side of Washington Avenue. And then they proceeded to cage in buildings from Sullivan all the way up to McNair Park. And if you I had to call the fire department because I couldn't get out of my building. And the gentleman was kind of like making fun and just telling me like to walk up the block. And I think that we need to consider how these events impact neighborhoods such as ours, which there was an earlier speaker who talked about the fact that there's a number of significant tourist attractions here. There are, 8 or 9 schools here. We have this construction going on Crown, Franklin, which borders Crown and Montgomery. We are going to probably run into the Spice Factory development. And I think that when things like this happen in neighborhoods where people are so displaced and so aggrieved, and attention is not paid to our basic needs for, getting rid of the ghost cars, having a police presence that, enforces quality of life rules. If we don't do those things for each other, then what I think is going to happen is that our communities begin to collapse. And when our communities collapse, we begin to lose a really good flavor of who we are as citizens within this community. And then the frustration also grows towards, entities like the New York Roadrunners Club, which they do good things. But I know I don't want to be woken up at 5:30 in the morning hearing testing 1, 2, because they've set up microphones and 25,000 runners have come down Washington Avenue without sufficient notification to the community. So the way we were treated, the way it was put in, and then all of the other, existing conditions that make this a tough place to live in sometimes, circling to park your car, all of that stuff. I think that the community board and our politicians need to work in closer contact with community members to make sure that we don't feel so aggrieved and unjustly treated. So thank you very much. I'm hoping to see a change for the better. For the community board, I'd like you guys to check out Jackie Robinson Playground. It'd be nice to see a nice American flag and Parks Department and city flag that's not torn to pieces above the bathroom. And I'd also like to know, why is that building that was a 3-story commercial building now a 17-story residential tower? So thank you very much.
Please conclude.
Thank you very much for listening to my comments.
No, thank you very much for your commentary. And absolutely, there are a number of issues that I think have been echoed by a number of speakers. So we're definitely on it. I would ask, definitely please make sure you keep in contact with our district office. Some of those we might be able to follow up on, particularly with the Jackie Robinson Park, to see what we can get, or see what maintenance issues can get taken care of easily, hopefully. But thank you very much for your commentary. Okay. Do we have Elaine Johnson? Are they here?
I don't believe so.
Okay, who's the next speaker we have?
Greg Smith-Simon, who I've been trying to promote, but it's not doing it. So Greg, can you hear us? Okay, I think we might got him. Hold on.
Okay, good.
Can you hear me?
There we go.
Great. Hi everybody, and thanks for having me. My name's Greg Smith-Simon. I'm joining you all from Brooklyn College, and I appreciate you giving me some time. I am here tonight to ask for everyone's assistance, both on the board and the attendees. I'm conducting a research project on basement flooding, things related to climate change, but in particular, I'm looking to interview people who have had experience with basement flooding from rainstorms. While Sandy was water coming from the ocean, remember that Hurricane Ida a couple of years ago flooded a lot of people's basements. 11 people in the city died in Brooklyn and in Queens. And so this is part of a project to better understand the experiences of people who experience basement flooding. It's part of a larger project to also develop a better prediction system, a map that can better predict what areas are at risk for that kind of flooding. So what I'm going to be doing is talking to people, doing maybe hour-long interviews. It's part of a research project with U.S. Geological Survey. People are paid $40 for those interviews. So if you or someone you know has experienced basement flooding in any way, I would be very happy to get in touch with you or have you, send my contact information to them. That could be that someone is a homeowner and has had their basement flood. They could live in an apartment or a basement apartment and experience that sort of flooding. It doesn't really matter whether it's an apartment that someone was living in or a laundry room or TV room. I think it's important because there are efforts being taken to address the issue, but the experiences of people who are living in these buildings, whether they're homes, apartments, what have you, are not really at the fore. So I'm hoping that this project can help to do that. I'd like to give you my email address and phone number if you want to participate or you know of someone who might fit that description. My email address, my name is Greg Smith Simon. So my email address is G Smith Simon, that's GSMITHSIMON at brooklyn.cuny.edu. And my phone number is 646-714-4720. That's 646-714-4720. Feel free to give me a text or to send those on to someone who you think might be interested. It'd be a big help, and I'm trying to get representation from this community board and others around it so that we really have a sense of what people have been going through. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Smith-Simon. And if you could just make sure that you give the information to the district office, so that way we can have it, and for all members, all residents, if you would like to get in contact with Mr. Smith-Simon about the study, the information will be available at the board office, and we'll make sure we try to give it, with connection. But thank you very much again for your commentary, sir.
Will do. Thank you so much.
Okay. Next, I believe it was Walker.
We did a Watler, right?
Oh, it was Watler. I'm sorry. Okay, I thought it was. All right. Next, I believe is it Mr. Sword?
Yes. Give me one second.
All right, please promote Mr. Sword.
Okay. Should be able to hear. Jay.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Item number one, I believe on April 12th, this community board is promoting Utica Crescent is having a public meeting on one of the Vital Brooklyn projects. It's hidden in the info blast. It is not on the calendar for April yet. So it's a very significant project because it's going to take away a lot of parking from the community. It's 225 of the units are going to be for people who are working, and there's only going to be maybe 30 spots. It's also going to have 89 individuals who they originally said was seniors, elderly and frail. When you look at the detail, it's basically persons who are over 55 from the homeless shelters, from the jails, from the psych wards, and also senior citizens. So they're mixing senior citizens with homeless. The criteria of the 89 supportive housing is homeless. So there's a tremendous amount that's oversaturating. April 12th, I would ask that it be rescheduled. It's during the Passover holidays, and that there's a lot of Orthodox Jews in the neighborhood who may be going away, and it's not being promoted. That's number one. Number two, Link NYC, the whole cell phone things that people have been talking about, that never went through ULURP. New York City on their website, it never went through ULURP. It has to go through ULURP. Take a look at section 363, where if there's land use or land use implications, it's got to go through ULURP. Okay, so there's an issue there. In terms of going forward, the community board should be stronger in asking for a moratorium, just like the community board in Manhattan did, Community Board 8. People should be, it's better to be safe than sorry. And I would tell that to Miss Hudson, Councilwoman Hudson, if there's any assistance, please take a look at that issue. It's supposed to go through the community boards because the ULURP it didn't. Jimani Williams, the public advocate, and Reynoso, the BP, they were both on the city council at the time when they voted for the resolution. And number two, they were both on the land use committee. It only goes to a land use committee if there's land use implications. They also used the wrong standard. I'm not going to go into it now, but they got out of it by saying there's no significant impact, no significant environmental impact. That's an environmental impact statement which never happens. Okay, there's a big issue on that. And number three, I would ask for a town hall on Vital Brooklyn. I see Mr. Slavin there. I see Mr. Rothblatt there. Please have your representatives have a town hall and open it up to the people so that, and the town hall should be in the neighborhood. No one's talking about the Vital Brooklyn. The Jewish community knows about it. Most of the African-American people there don't know about it, okay? And that's on purpose, all right? So I asked for a town hall, and then I asked for the officials to take a stand. No fence sitters.
I need you to conclude your remarks. Your time is expired.
And then my final remark is to ask people who are on the community board to rescind the bylaws meeting, because the bylaws meeting had there was no public input, no public comment, and it was a trick by calling an information session. 7 other community boards, when they amended the bylaws, they all went to a committee. This is the only community board that didn't have public comment, public input, and there's a disparate impact because it's a predominantly Black neighborhood. The optics are very bad. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. I see. Who else do we have on the list, Dante?
Let's see. Did we get Elaine Johnson wasn't here, I don't believe, and Benita Walker was the last person.
Benita Walker. I do have Robertson on there. I thought I saw Robertson.
Candace Robinson.
No, Robertson.
Oh, Felice. I thought you asked board members to defer.
Yeah, no. This is Hector. Hector's on.
Got it. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Okay. Should be able to. Here, Hector. All right, Hector needs to unmute, and he should be good.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Good evening to everyone. Listen, Fred, Mr. Chairman, I just want to echo what has been said about the way in which Washington Avenue was treated during this marathon. Look, I've lived in this community for a very long time, and I've never, ever in my entire time living here have ever seen anything like this. I don't know how many of you have seen that movie that everybody was actually segregated in one area. Everybody on this trip between Empire Boulevard and Eastern Parkway was like in that movie Siege. No one could get out of their buildings, and when they could get out of their buildings, they had to go blocks away. Every senior that I talked to on my block around Franklin Avenue, Bedford Avenue, and all the streets in between, they couldn't get to their homes. They had to be 3 or 4 blocks away and walk with walkers to their building. This is really the worst that I've ever seen the people in this particular community treated. And when I go back and take a look at all of the damage that were done to vehicles, who pays for that? Every resident that had their cars towed and they had their front end damaged, they have to pay for that. They can't even claim for the city to pay for that. And so I am actually looking for the community board, borough president, every elected official. I actually hold them responsible for allowing something like this to happen. There is a reason why this entire activity was moved from Eastern Parkway, because all of the residents on Eastern Parkway didn't want to have that on Eastern Parkway. And you know that everybody on that stretch over there on Eastern Parkway are multi-million-dollar apartments. So they don't want to see that kind of activity over there. But guess what? The people on Washington Avenue are also paying thousands of dollars for their apartment. Why is it that 25, 30,000 runners are running on one small street? Isn't that why we have a park for? Why are we being subjected to this? Why is everybody, especially people living on dead-end streets, having their cars towed? There is nothing happening on I took the time to walk up and down Eastern Parkway, up and down Washington Avenue, up and down Side Street and speak to all of my neighbors about this. We took the time to put flyers on everybody's car to call into this call the borough president, call your elected officials, because you know what? They failed you today. Each one of them have. And so what I'm looking for from every single one that make these things possible is that you need to change the route of these races. We're having another one on April 23rd. We can't have this again. We just can't have this again. And I'm not talking about getting rid of the marathon. I don't care who wants to run. What I care is that people understand that there are people that live in this community that are doctors, nurses, firefighters, everybody that has overnight shift that need to be in their bed sleeping during the day and have their cars towed. That's what I care about. When they came out that day, they couldn't find their cars.
Please
And so
conclude.
the posting was absolutely not posted correctly. And I'm
Yeah.
saying to everyone that is listening to this call, you have a right and you should not allow this to happen in our community again.
Okay, thank you for your commentary, Hector. All right, I do have on the list signed up previously, Valerie Hollingsworth.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm going to be very brief because I don't want to take up too much of people's time because I know time is important. A good evening again. My name is Valerie Hollingsworth, and I am the Community Outreach Chair for Health and Hospitals Kings County CAB, which is the Community Advisory Board. And I am here just to introduce myself, and I would be coming periodically just to be able to share some highlights of things that are happening at Kings County Hospital. So I just wanted to just briefly tell you, and then I'm going to get off, that what's happened through the newsletters that was shared with me from Kings County for the month of January and February. Just a couple of things that Kings County Hospital announced the opening of the Brooklyn Neuroscience Center, and they are offering comprehensive care with interdisciplinary teams to treat disorders of the brain, spine, and peripheral nervous systems of patients of all ages. And I'm just going to go through very briefly. Kings County Hospital, their nuclear cardiology laboratory at the hospital was awarded, and please forgive me because I'm not a physician, was awarded the myocardial perfusion imaging and equilibrium radon nuclide angiography accreditation. That's a lot. But the long story short is that Kings County Hospital is now the only health and hospital facility with an accredited nuclear cardiology laboratory. So that is two major things that's happening at the hospital. Third thing is that Kings County Hospital now has a plant-based diet for their patients that are admitted into the hospital and have to stay, of course, because of course we know hospital food is not always the best. But now they're, I guess, trying to be much more health conscious. So they have introduced a plant-based diet, and they highlighted a patient in the newsletter, I guess, who commented about how tasty the meal was. And I'm gonna go lastly, just February, they highlighted American Heart Month. And just a quick help tip that if we skip the salt shaker just once at the table every day, that we can lower heart disease. So it's just important to, in mitigating heart disease, to just try to stay away from salt. And I think that's it. And again, you know, if I would get communication from the hospital, I would, you know, definitely come and share those announcements and pertinent information that could benefit the community. And I'm going to say hi to my chair, Miss Leopold, because I know she's on a call. And that's it. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hollingsworth, and definitely invite you to come back as well. And absolutely, if there are any events or anything of note happening, please make sure you also get it to the district office, because we can include that as part of our weekly e-blast, so we can get that
Yes,
word out to our distribution.
Yes, I did speak with the district manager that you usually do it on Fridays. So I will do my best. Once I get information, I will do my best to share it so that it could be e-blasted. And if not, then of course I'll have to come to the meeting and do it in person. All right. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
And good night. Okay. All right. I think we have exhausted our public commentary period. I want to thank all those who've given commentary this evening. So we are definitely looking into the issues that have been put forth. And please, ask if possible to also make sure you stay in contact with the district office, so that way we can track the issues and also keep you apprised of any progress that's happening as well. Okay, so at this time, we are now going to go into our acknowledgements. I would ask, I see a number of familiar faces. If you are representing an agency or an organization or a public official, please use the raise hand function, so that way the district office staff can identify you and we can call you up.
I'm sorry, Fred. Fred, you
yeah.
have the booklet. You have the I'm sorry, the botanical gardens that's trying to get in and speak to you. I'm sorry. I was trying to get your attention. I'm sorry.
No, and we're going to recognize them for acknowledgements as well. They'll be recognized for acknowledgements. Yeah. So if you're with an organization, please use the raise hand, and we'll make sure we try and give you a couple of minutes to I say a couple. I'm probably being generous. A brief moment to say hi.
Mr. Chair, I think Miss Hudson was there, but I'm looking. I think she must have hung up. Oh, she's still there. Crystal Hudson, she's still there. Council Member Hudson.
Yeah, I'm going to get right to it. Okay. So I would ask if you are representing a representative, an elected official or an organization or an agency, please use the raise hand function, and we are going to recognize you, so that way you can address the board. But as has been pointed out, we do have with us this evening our council member from the 35th district, yay, Crystal Hudson. To give you our council member Hudson the floor to address the board. Please, you have the floor.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And good evening, everyone. It's good to see you all. Just a couple of quick announcements. The first is we are in the midst of participatory budgeting. I'm sure you all are very familiar, but Vote Week has started, and we encourage everyone to cast their ballots. There are a number of really great options and items to vote for. The community board, the district office has all of the information, so maybe they can share that out if it hasn't been shared out already. And the other one is that we're launching an initiative essentially around land use and development that is determined and designed by our community. Planning Together for Our Future is what we're calling it. It's essentially a survey, and it'll be a number of public workshops that we'll be hosting, the first of which will be this Saturday, April 1st from 1 to 3 p.m. at the Co-Cathedral of St. Joseph, which is at the corner of Pacific and Vanderbilt in Prospect Heights. It's 856 Pacific Street is the address. We'll be hosting a number of these public workshops in the future. This is the first one. It's the launch. If you're unable to attend, we highly encourage everyone to fill out the survey. And it's essentially will create a process by which we will have a say in how land use and development is taken upon in District 35. This is the first initiative of its kind in the city council. The speaker is behind it, the borough president is behind it, and we're hoping that it'll actually serve as a pilot so that other districts across the city can do this. Mr. Arnwine serves on the advisory committee, and so he can speak firsthand about what we're trying to do. But I believe that it shouldn't be private developers that determine how our city is designed and built and what goes up around us and in our neighborhoods and communities, but it should be us. And so this is one step in trying to bring some of those decisions to the community and to the folks that I represent. So wanted to share those two things. The last thing I'll share is just a legislative update. I'm chair of the Aging Committee in the City Council, and I have a package of bills called the NYC Age in Place Legislative Package, which is a package of 10 bills designed to really make New York City the best place for everyone to grow older, and to ensure that we have opportunities to age in place with dignity and respect. And they address everything from accessing healthcare and telemedicine appointments, to ensuring that we have culturally competent programming and foods in our older adult centers, to ensuring that housing is truly accessible for everyone, whether you're an older person or somebody living with a disability, creating universal design, which I always describe as ADA on steroids, going a little bit further and making sure that all housing units are accessible for everybody, so that we can actually literally and physically age in place, so that as things might become more difficult for us to maneuver, that our homes are designed adequately. So happy to share more information about that legislative package. AARP and many other organizations have been great supporters of the package. We've passed 4 out of the 10 bills so far. We're hoping to pass the other 6 this calendar year. So look out for those updates. And thank you all very much. Have a good evening. And Demi Brown is from my office is also on the call, just so that people know their name. Thank you.
Thank you very much, council member. And if you heard some of the comments, we'll be in touch, because I think we got a few things we need to work on.
I was going to say, I mean, you sort of, touched upon it, but we'll definitely be in touch with the community board directly on a lot of those issues. Things like addressing the route for the marathon, we can definitely look into. Our office wasn't made aware of any specifics. And so we can definitely reach out to the host organization to make sure that these concerns are being addressed, and especially for other races in the future. And then also things like towing derelict cars and abandoned cars and things like that are definitely something that we can help with. So we'll be in touch with the community board directly to sort of get on top of those things and make sure some of that stuff is happening.
Thank you very much.
Thanks again, Mr. Baptiste.
Okay. All right. Dante, who else do we have? Let's call them out.
Okay. Ethan from BBG.
No, except for Ethan, he can't talk.
Thank you. Well, it's good to see everyone. Just wanted to quickly drop in and say hello. Obviously, I'm sure you guys know the weather's getting a little warmer, so spring has definitely sprung at the garden. Already stuff coming into bloom. Cherries aren't quite there, but you can keep track of that on our website. I wanted to make sure that everyone knew that we're going to be having some really exciting programming coming up. Our Weekends in Bloom from April 22nd through March 14th. There's going to be music, dance performances, tours, activities for families and kids. So please come on down. And really more importantly, I just want to remind everyone about our free community ticket program. So every day that we are open, free tickets are available to anyone who wants them. We really don't want the cost of a ticket to be a barrier to access for anyone. So to access those, you just go on our website, follow the regular process that you would to purchase a ticket. And when you get to the point where you're sort of like selecting the number, adult, child, senior, there's an option that says community ticket. You click that, that gives you access to our free tickets. So please come on down to our Weekends in Bloom and take advantage of those free tickets. And they're available now all the way through the middle of May. So, don't wait, reserve those before they run out, because we're expecting some good crowds this year. So thanks and have a great spring.
Can you put that link in the chat?
Oh, we do not have a chat set up, but that information will be available through the board office. And Dante, we can include that as part of the blast as well?
Yes. Ethan just send it over to me. Thanks.
Perfect.
Will do.
Thank you very much. All right, who do we have next, Dante?
All right, we have Karen from the DA's office. I'm just going down my screen.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. Good night, everybody. I just want to say welcome, and I'm glad to be here. I just have one announcement. We are having our Women's History Month event tomorrow at Medgar Evers. and it's going to be from 3 to 5. I hope you all could join us, and we're looking forward to seeing everyone. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Ms. Crawford.
Ms. Crawford, this is Milford Pruitt.
Yes, I
thought
have a speaker for you, and I told you I'm going to email you tomorrow.
Okay.
With the information.
All right. Thought
Okay.
I'd get the face to the voice.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Next, Taekwon Coleman, CM Joseph.
Hi, everyone. Taekwon Coleman, Chief of Staff to Councilmember Joseph. I just want to remind you all that the deadline for SYEP is the 31st. As always, we're available Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. The number is, sorry, forgot the number. 718-287-8762, and my direct number is 929-496-6341. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Coleman.
Thank you. All right, we have Justin Freeman, Assembly Member of Ferris Front Forces Office.
Hey, good evening. Is it okay if I share a slide just so people can see the different links that our office has for different events, or should we just?
Yeah, if you could call them out only because it's a little bit time, in terms of.
Yep, not a problem. So, my name is Justin Freeman. I am Farrah's Director of Community Affairs. Hope everyone had a great Women's History Month. I'm excited to hopefully get into, warmer months. I know Assembly Member Farrah Suquan Forrest, considering she's in Albany, she's also hoping for warmer weather. As you know, she's been fighting in Albany for a budget that reflects the needs of working class people in the district. She's been pushing for housing access voucher program, good cause eviction, and advocating for treatment not jail to be passed in the budget, which would increase access to mental health services for incarcerated and provide funding for mental health court. Moving on to upcoming events, we have some exciting things planned for next month. On the third Wednesday of every month, we have a free legal housing clinic for tenants who are dealing with issues like succession, eviction cases, rent arrears, and more. If you or anyone you know could benefit from this service, you can use the link bit.ly/housing law advice. And, we're also looking to expand the range of legal clinics that we offer each month to cover topics like foreclosure, immigration law, criminal justice issues. So please watch this space for updates. On the weekend of April 22nd, we have a weekend of outreach tentatively scheduled. We'll be canvassing on Saturday and phone banking on Sunday, which is a great way to get in touch with your neighbors and learn about their material needs on how to address those needs. During our last canvass on March 18th, it was actually in Crown Heights. We were able to meet with 5 families that needed our help or a referral to another city or state agency. So you can sign up for this event to volunteer. The link is bit.ly/Farrah Outreach. And lastly, if you want to stay up to date with what the Assembly member is doing in Albany, in the district, you can sign up for our newsletter. The link is bit.ly, that's LY, sorry, /Farrah e-newsletter. The newsletter includes information about legislative priorities, pictures of her son David, details about upcoming job fairs, training opportunities, things like that. So thank you so much for your time. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me, and I'll be sure to share these events with the community board so they can be put in the newsletter. Thank you so much and have a great evening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Freeman.
All right. Raul Rothblatt, Assembly Member Cunningham.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Raul Rothblatt here. I'm the Director of Constituent Affairs for Assembly Member Brian Cunningham. And first of all, I want to wish everyone Ramadan Mubarak for everyone who is celebrating. And even if you're not celebrating it, I think it's a beautiful month of unity. We are looking forward to having our second iftar. The first event that our office ever did last year was an iftar in Crown Heights, and we're going to do another one on April 19th. Still working on the flyer, but because we have a possible new location there, but looking forward to that. So that's going to be halal, but it's also going to be kosher for and we definitely want to invite all religious observances, especially our Chabad friends. So stay tuned for that. But even before that is tomorrow night, we're hosting an event, a Women's History Month discussion with Velmanette Montgomery, with Annette Robinson, and with Jamila Pringle at the Brooklyn Public Library in the Info Commons room at Grand Army Plaza. I think that these are some really great leaders, and it's a great opportunity to kind of give them an exit interview for the ones who've retired, to hear a summary of what they've learned and what applies for them. So please join us then. And we're also doing a Easter egg hunt in April 8th in Brower Park. And I know it seems like a far away, but Juneteenth, we are working with the Flatbush African Burial Ground and with the Lefferts Historic House to combine everything together. So I think there's a really exciting opportunity to bring our history together. The Lefferts Historic House is finally looking at who was enslaved there and telling the stories of who they were, what their families were like, what their lives were like, maybe even finding their descendants and connecting that to the Flatbush African Burial Ground. So there's a lot to say. We are definitely working hard on the budget right now. Of course, the budget in Albany is due April 1st, so I can't give a lot of specifics on what we're going to get, but we're really definitely pushing for funding for things in the district. Some of our priorities is Medgar Evers College, a lot of health institutions, or the cultural institutions. We're definitely working to fund groups that are supporting both renters and owners, and the anti-violence groups. And we always welcome you to have us. Please consider our office a space for the community. We would love to see you. We're located at 249 Empire Boulevard at Rogers, and that's it. Please stay in touch, and please count on Dante. If you have any connections, any questions for us, we definitely want to answer that and keep an open dialogue. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rothblatt.
All right, we have Portia, Senator Myrie's office.
Did you say last but not least?
Last but not least, Portia.
Perfectly last because you saved the best for last. I appreciate that. No, I'm joking. Good evening, everyone. This is Portia Edwards from State Senator Zelda Myrie. Forgive me for not having my camera on. I'm in my car right now, but just wanted to bring greetings from the State Senator and the office as a whole. Really brief updates. Like Raul just said, budget is happening, and so the senator is in the weeds with budget right now in Albany. Probably not looking to come back until next week. And so we're very, very happy that he's up there fighting for us and, pulling to get as much money for the community as possible and throughout the state for all of our initiatives. We just passed a bill this weekend. You should see it in our newsletter. I can't give you all the details because I don't got it in front of me. And just last update, we have oh my gosh, my brain is blanking me. CUF. We have a CUF in our office every Wednesday from noon to 6 p.m. Helping people sign up for Housing Connect. So if you know someone, a senior, not senior, someone who's looking for housing and they're trying to get on Housing Connect and they don't know how to do it, please reach out to our office. The number is 718-284-4700. Also, Friday is the last day for applications to emergency. My brain is
ERAP.
Yes, thank you. We talked about it this morning, and that's why I mentioned it. Thank you, Dante. And so, if there's anyone who is looking for emergency HEAP, not ERAP, emergency HEAP is the last day on Friday.
Right.
Emergency HEAP, if you're having energy issues or bills or backed up bills, and you are already receiving government funds such as SNAP or Medicaid, that kind of thing, you could definitely qualify. So I can't say definitely, you could qualify. So please reach out to the office. We can help you fill out those applications. Excuse my scrambled brain while I get it together. I'm off this. Have a great evening, everyone.
Thank you very much, Bush. And that's a cute avatar right there.
Oh, thank you so much. That's my precious little baby. Well, he ain't a baby no more, but you know what I mean.
That's how fast they grow. Okay. And
We also
sneaking
have-
in, yes, I was going to say sneaking into the, not last, he snuck in right after you. So we have, is that Mr. Slavin from Representative Clark's office?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Good
And if
evening.
I would ask, before you begin, if I could ask, if the last call, if there's anyone else who would like to address the board, please raise your hand so we can make sure we acknowledge you before we conclude and conclude the business session. I'm sorry, Mr. Slavin, you have the floor, sir.
No problem. First of all, good evening, everybody. I always like to give our address and phone number. We're open for business. The office deals strictly for federal issues, but of course, we work hand in hand with the local elected officials for support. So my name is Alex Slavin, Community Liaison for Congresswoman Yvette B. Clark, the members in DC. We're located at 222 Lenox Road. That's between Rogers and Nostrand. Our number is 718-287-1142. Now, there's a lot of information. You know me from before. I keep it short and sweet. So please go on to clark.house.gov. That's CLARKE.house.gov. A lot of information on that site, and you can also reach with any questions on that site. Last but not least, I want to make one announcement. Passports is becoming a very, very big issue. They are very behind. People are traveling now in the tens of thousands because of COVID, and of course, because of the holidays. We have Easter, Ramadan, and the Passover. I myself, I'm busy trying to get passports and appointments for people who don't have their passports. It's very, very, very important that you and your family members, friends, make sure your passports are valid. Some countries, our airlines require 6 months minimum active valid passports. Some require 4 months. I'm getting calls. I can't even tell you, some people have lost their money because they could not travel. Some people were smart enough to have insurance on their travels. But it's very, very important that you do check your passports are valid. And with that, let me wish everybody who is celebrating these Ramadan, Easter, and Passover a happy and healthy, and regards from the Congresswoman. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Slavin.
All right. We have Bianca Stevenson from the Borough President's.
Hi, good afternoon, good night, rather, everyone. Bianca Stevenson from the Office of Borough President Reynoso. Happy am I to join you here today. Presently, I'm the Community Boards Coordinator, and presently we're in the midst of the final throes of trying to make sure that you have a complete board soon. Presently, the council members are selecting the borough president. He starts his selection process on Thursday, and we hope to have it all wrapped up by the beginning of April. So that's really exciting. The borough president has also been advocating in several spaces. Most recently, last month, he convened fellow elected officials and community groups in Williamsburg to condemn New York State for refusing to partner with the DOT to re-envision the Brooklyn-Queens Expressway. Of course, this is important because for decades, the BQE has burdened low-income communities, creating high asthma rates. So, many elected officials joined him in this in participating in the press conference. So he's going to continue to, work on that. And I'd just like to end with one announcement. At Borough Hall on Thursday, the March 30th, that's this Thursday, we're going to be celebrating women for Women's History Month, of course, and in a program called Women Who Tell Us Stories. So that's from 6 to 8 p.m., Thursday, March 30th. And that's open to everyone, and we hope to see you there. So thank you and have a great night.
Thank you very much, Ms. Stevenson.
All right, we have Arna from Interborough. Arna, you muted.
Okay, thank you so much. Hello, good evening, everybody. Happy spring, happy Women's History Month, which we are just wrapping up, but keep in mind, we all know that women's history is all the time. On that note, we just had our public safety quality of life event last week at Brooklyn Children's Museum. It was a great turnout. I want to thank Francisca Leopold and Prima Lozana for attending and for their input in the preparation of this event. We had several NYPD officials there. We also had Cure Violence organizations. We had NIA, we had Carrie Gabe, and we had the 67th Precinct Clergy Council, AKA the God Squad, who are all doing awesome work on the ground, reaching out to the community to stem the tide of gun violence and address trauma that goes along with being a victim of gun violence or any assault. Although they were not able to attend, Elite Learners was invited. They are also very involved, especially here in CB9 with youth starting at age 7 and up, especially with their mentorship program. So if you're looking for a positive outlet for youth, contact them at Elite Learners Inc. Their brick and mortar is located at 581 Rogers. And I think it should be, noted that we do see more now than before that the NYPD is working closely with our Cure Violence groups, working hand in hand from different angles to keep our community safe. And I feel that our community for that is truly grateful. We had also an interesting guest speaker from the Be Heard program. I don't know how many of you have heard of that, but this is a new program that's rolled out with NYPD starting and some other agencies starting in 2021. It consists of teams from mental health professions, EMTs, paramedics, who began responding to low-level mental health 911 calls, specifically East New York, Brownsville, and other areas of Manhattan. This new health-centered approach called Be Heard Behavioral Health Emergency Assistance Response Division is part of New York City's commitment to treat mental health crisis as public health problems, not as public safety issues. The Be Heard teams are jointly operated by FDNY Medical Services, NYC Health and Hospitals, and oversight from the Mayor's Office of Community Mental Health. How Be Heard can help is that their teams use physical mental health expertise and experience in crisis response to de-escalate emergency situations and respond to a range of behavioral health problems such as suicide ideation, substance misuse, mental health, including serious mental illness, physical health problems, which can be exacerbated by or masked mental health problems. In our neighborhood here, there were at least 2 situations which were fatal outcomes of mental health. As a matter of fact, when I started with Majority Leader Cumbo, maybe 2 weeks in, there was a situation on Utica where a young man looked like he was carrying a gun, but was not, but he had mental health problems. And unfortunately, he is not here anymore. And there's another one where a street was named after Edu, I think his name is Paris or something like that. I believe Crystal's office was involved in that street co-naming. So we can't underestimate the need for this. And I know they're actually looking for I was on the website today. They're looking for social workers. So they're really trying to push this program out more and more. If you know anybody who has experienced a behavioral health crisis, you can call NYC Well at 888 NYC Well, text Well to 65173 or nyc.gov/NYC Well. The other component of our event was tabling. We had a lot of CBOs and agencies, so it was a really successful night. And I just want to thank everyone from Community Board 9 and Community Board 8 who came. And just letting everybody know, if you know anyone that needs counseling or services with Connect, such as help with their benefits, vocational services, or peers, please feel free to call me 929-677-0060 or email me at alipkind@interborough.gov. I'm sorry, .com. Thank you. Have a great evening and happy spring, everybody.
Thank you very much, Ms. Lipkin.
Thank you. All right, and to close the list, we have Kenya from Iron Caribbean.
Oh, you're on mute.
Apologies, I did not realize I did not unmute myself. My name is Kenya Cummings. I am the program manager for I Am Caribbean for our Neighborhood 360 grant. I am glad to be here and just meet you all, as well as share a few of programming as the warmer weather starts to come up. We have our Trees of Little Caribbean event until December 17th with Brooklyn Botanical Garden, as well as our Plants of Little Caribbean through September. We also have some upcoming programming at Governor's Island that will be until October. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but we do have other events that are happening, like Art in the Garden, Caribbean American Heritage Month. So I will gladly share with the community board links to those events to share in the upcoming newsletter so people can come out and enjoy these festivities. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that's the finality of the list, Fred.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, so I do want to thank again all those representatives and our elected official, Councilmember Hudson, who joined us this evening, and all the organizations and partners who have joined us. So we have great, wonderful working relationships. So if anyone is interested in contacting any of these entities, they can be reached through the district office. They have that contact information. And additionally, a lot of the events and resources that have been spoken about this evening will be available through the office, and usually are included as part of our e-blast that goes out every Friday. So if you are not subscribed to that, I absolutely urge you to subscribe to our e-blast. It is a way to keep in touch, on top of the things that are happening in the district. And if you do have events of things or resources to share, please make sure you refer those to the district office so those things can be included. So at this time, that concludes our public session. We are now going to go into our business session. So at this time, Madam Secretary, are you with us?
Can you see me?
Okay, I would ask at this time if you could please call the roll.
Okay, hold 1 minute. I'm getting it up. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Kyrie Ali.
Present.
Nicholas Almanar.
Present.
Stuart Balberg. Stuart Balberg. Thank you, thank you. Fred Baptiste.
Present.
Naomi Baptiste. John Eccles Jr.
Present.
Rabbi Berman. Rabbi Berman. Rabbi Berman.
Present.
Thank you. Warren Burke.
Here.
Augustine Blackwell.
Here.
Celeste Chase.
Present.
Suki Chow.
Here.
Sol Carey. Jamie Esteen. Tessa Vieira Hackett. Tessa Hackett Vieira, I'm sorry. Tessa
Here.
Hackett Vieira. Thank
Here
you.
I am here. Thank you.
Thank you. Bishop Gonzalez.
Present.
Thank you. Abina Hatchful. Primo Lozana.
Present.
Francisco Leopold.
Present.
Mena Legote.
Present.
Michael Leiberg. Courtney LaSalle.
Present.
Letwin Movina.
Present.
Aaron Mazursky.
Present.
Ms. Patricia Moses.
Here.
Beverly Newsom.
Here.
Yankee Pearson.
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Thank you. Cal Piccati?
No longer on the board.
Yes, I understand that. Mr. Milford Pruitt, that's the name.
Here.
Unella Romperi?
Present.
Thank you. Dexter Roberts? Okay. Felice Robertson? Felice?
Present.
Thank you.
Present.
Thank you. Rashida Sadiq?
Present.
Thank you too. Debbie Timothy?
Present.
Linda Watson, present. Teresa Vesterdon?
Present.
Lorraine Worsley?
It's Lorianne Woolsey.
Sorry. Okay.
It's fine. It's fine.
Lori, I'm sorry, it's written wrong. Lori Ann. Let me correct the spelling. Lori Ann. Okay, Mr. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
All right, Madam Secretary, if I could ask, could you just call the names of those who you don't have, who you have listed as absent or who didn't respond?
Okay, Saul Creary. Jamie Esteen. Matthias Limburger. 3 out. A little bit. Dexter Roberts. That's it.
Okay, and our count is?
Well, that's what I was doing.
Sure.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 29 present.
Okay, 29 present. We have a quorum.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you very much, Madam Secretary. So at this time, we are going to move on to the next item, the approval of the minutes from last month. The minutes were sent out as part of the package to the board members. Are there any changes that need to be made to the minutes? Okay, I call for a second time. Are there any changes that need to be made to the minutes? Okay, hearing no request for changes, is there any objection to adopting the minutes by common consent? Okay, hearing no objection, we will consider the minutes adopted by common consent of the board. All right, thank you very much. At this time, we are going to move on to committee reports. Committee reports have been submitted as part of the package. At this time, are there any chairs who have announcements they need to make at this time? You can do so. Please keep those announcements and any subsequent report to less than 1 minute. If you are a chair that has an announcement, please raise your hand and we'll recognize you and we'll give you an opportunity momentarily. Okay, give me a second. I see Ms. Newsom. I see Ms. Moses. Are there any of the chairs who have an announcement to make at this time? Okay, seeing none, we are going to close. Ms. Robertson, we're taking chairs. We're taking only reports from chairs. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to close on that. Ms. Newsom, Ms. Moses, you can give your announcements or reports to your committees.
Okay, I'm gonna just make it short. We had at the past meeting, Dr. Hackett, who was having issue with a developer next door. It was affecting our foundation. So we reached out to some of our resources, and on our next housing meeting, which is April 17th, we're going to have legal counsel there to talk about what homeowners can do, not just for Dr. Hackett, but for other homeowners who are facing this situation. When development next door negatively affects your home. So that's on the 17th of April at 6 o'clock, Housing Committee meeting.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Chair. Ms. Moses.
Good evening, everyone.
Just
Mr.
wanted-
Chair, can I ask a question to the former, to former chair, I mean, to the former speaker, the chair of housing? Quick, we'll be quick.
It needs to be very quick, very quick.
All
Go
right,
ahead.
so I just, for the sake of language going for further, just want to clarify, because again, I know bad behavior is always unexcusable. And if a neighbor is doing construction and it's affecting their neighbor, it's unacceptable. But my understanding, a developer typically means you're developing a property, you're an outsider, you're developing a property for others. I think in the
What is your
case you're
point?
discussing, correct me if I'm wrong or right, it's somebody who purchased the property, who's renovating it and affecting their neighbor. It's not a developer, it's somebody who plans to live there. Am I correct or am I?
No, it's a developer. No, it's a developer renovating a property. Yes, I said it
For
correctly.
themselves to live there or for others?
No, for others.
Very quickly.
All right, I think, well, fine, thank you.
Thank you, thank you. All right, Ms. Moses, you have the floor.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Our minutes have been submitted, but I just wanted to bring attention to everyone that on Tuesday, April 4th at 7 p.m., the Borough Hall Land Use Deputy Director will attend our meeting to present their draft recommendation, comprehensive plans on health disparities in Brooklyn. So I'm just asking the community to come out and participate and have a voice. Also, I just wanted to bring to the attention of everyone that the ULUP committee we have a subcommittee for the city of Yes, and that they meet on a monthly basis. So if you would just stay tuned and just kind of go in and see what's going on there. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. And as a follow-on announcement to that, I believe the City of Yes subcommittee is going to be meeting tomorrow, if I recall correctly.
Yes, I'm sorry. Right.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. So
Yeah,
if anyone is interested
I'm
in
sorry,
attending-
tomorrow at 7 p.m. And I think that that everyone that is living within our community should really try to participate so that you can get your voice in to be heard. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. Okay, all right then. Okay, so with that, we are now going to move on to the report of the district manager. Mr. Arnwine, do you have a report for the board?
Yes, I do. Okay, so again, participatory budgeting has commenced. You can go online to the City Council's website, and it will essentially link you to the participatory budgeting. That information for the council members that we received Councilmember Hudson and Councilmember Joseph's participatory budgeting items. So those will be in our e-blast going out Friday. So look out for those. You can vote now. Information, we will be sending out the email tomorrow. I was really hoping to get some stuff from Councilmember Mealy's office, but that hasn't come into the board office. So we'll send it out tomorrow. You all will be able to go ahead and vote for those items. I wanted to note that tomorrow at Ebbets Field, there will be in-person participatory voting tomorrow, I believe from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. So if you need more information on that, if you want to do it in person, you can reach out to the board office in the morning. I'll try to get as much information as I can, but that came through a source. And so I just wanted to acknowledge that. If you plan to do it in person, you can do it tomorrow at Ebbets Field. Another question had come up regarding the Brooklyn Bus Network advertising on buses and subways. I did reach out to the MTA, and they have said that advertising for the Brooklyn Bus Network for their upcoming workshops and pop-ups will be advertised on subways and buses relatively soon. So look out for that moving forward. Today, during the district service cabinet, the Department of Social Services had advised me that they are planning to create a community advisory board for the Parkside Avenue shelter. This community advisory board will be similar to the CAB at Rachel's house in the district. see, I think it's going to be up to 15 individuals, and they're looking to meet on a quarterly basis to collaborate and share updates about the site, so on and so forth. So if you're on the board and you're interested in that you believe that would be something of interest to you, or if you know someone who may be able to serve in that capacity and has an interest in this, just reach out to me and I will connect you to DSS. I don't particularly know how they're going to set up the cab, but at least I can just connect you if you're interested. So just if you're interested, reach out to the board office and I'll make that connection. I'm going to come back to that because that's been brought up a lot. I also just wanted to inform everyone that the board office will be serving as an SYP work site this summer again. We're looking forward to having the participants in the board office. I believe the applications may still be open for SYEP. So if you know of anyone who's interested in participating, make sure that you direct them to that application. Let me move up this way. I don't think she's on, so I'll do it for her. The Youth Services Committee did host CB9 Internship and Career Fair this past Saturday at the Prospect Heights High School in the district from 12 to 3 in the cafeteria. The chair sent over some information. It looked like it was a great event. So if there's any follow-up, if you want to connect with any of the vendors that were there, just reach out to me. I'll connect you with Sol, the chair, the committee chair. She has all the information for the vendors, so I'll make that connection. That's actually happening tonight, so I will move on. Went out today, actually, the CEC is having a land use training tomorrow. Just received notice of that from 6:30 to 8 p.m. That information went out. And so we will send it out again. If you have the capacity to attend, there are like a lot of land use trainings just happening in the month of March and April. If you're able to attend, please attend. We'll send that information out again shortly in the morning. The New York State Cannabis Control Board will be holding its next hearing on Monday, April 3rd. Actually, let me confirm all of that before I say that. I'm going to come back to that. I want to confirm that by the end of the meeting. There is a public hearing scheduled. It was mentioned earlier for the Utica Crescent mixed use project. That public hearing is scheduled for April 12th from 6 to 8 p.m. via Zoom. That information has been in our e-blast. If you know of anyone who's interested in participating, who wants to comment, they can reach out to the board office and we can connect them so they can comment appropriately on that. Next, free tax. Okay, yeah. So NYC free tax helps New Yorkers keep their full refunds, including valuable tax credits like the NYC earned income tax credit at no cost to them. Single filers in New York who earned $56,000 or less in 2022, or families who earned $80,000 or less, may be eligible for free tax prep. If you're interested in that, you know of anyone who may be interested, have them reach out to the board office. To segue, this Thursday, we will be having a prep workshop with the Department of Consumer Worker Protection. Starting at 7 p.m. via Zoom. That information is already on our website. So if you know of anyone who has questions about these types of services, have them send them the information for the tax prep workshop, have them reach out to the board office and we'll make sure that they get the information. Tax day is April 18th, so it's quickly approaching. So have them reach out to the board office and we'll connect them. The moratorium on the issuance of business sign violations has been extended to February 9th, 2025. Until that date, DOB will not issue violations for business storefront signs that existed before February 9th, 2019, neither exceed 150 square feet in area or nor exceed 1,200 pounds in weight unless the sign creates an imminent threat to public health or safety. So if you know of any business owners who may have received a summons, they shouldn't have received it, so have them reach out to the board office. But if you know of any business owners, let them know that there is a moratorium. And if they would like to know more information about it, have them reach out to the board office, and I will get them the information. Also, it was brought to my attention a couple of weeks ago that Crown Gardens across from the board office is going to be going through a rather significant rent increase that was approved by HPD. And that rent increase is set to take effect April 1st. I've been working with Councilmember Crystal Hudson's office, DMA actually, and my former colleagues at HPD Housing Supervision to schedule a workshop. The council member's office and I, we've been able to work together to make that happen. So a workshop will happen at Crown Gardens to help the folks who may be eligible in the complex, hopefully they are, to get their rent frozen on the SCREE program. So that's going to be taken, that's going to happen April 1st at Crown Gardens. And again, if you hear of any, especially Mitchell-Lamas, anything like that, if they're going through rent increases, if you know of folks who live in rent stabilized buildings or rent controlled buildings, and they are an older adult or they identify with having a disability, have them reach out to the board office. They may be eligible to have their rent frozen through the SCREE or DREE program. I have heard the sentiments regarding the marathon. I have reached out to the New York Roadrunners, who hosted the United Airlines half marathon that many complaints have come in about. That dialogue has started. Also, the board office has been able to connect me with the hosting organizations for the upcoming marathons that we're going to have in district. So that dialogue has started. They understand the concern. I know someone had brought up a flyer that was disseminated through the community about the marathon and how the community was treated. I forwarded that to them, so they're aware that the community feels just underappreciated in this whole process. And so that dialogue has started, and I will be sure to keep everyone abreast as those communications continue to happen. I mentioned the advisory board, participatory budgeting. Oh, this is it. Also, DCP has sent over our FY 2024 community district needs statement. So it is officially published. You can see that in the news section on our website. You can also go to the about section on our website and then go to the section where the bylaws for the board are. It's also noted there, so you can get it in two different places. We'll be sending the document out to the board, so you all will have it. But wanted to make the note that we got it. It's posted, and we will be sending that out so you all can take a look at that moving forward. And I think with that, that is the finality of my report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. District Manager. At this time, we will take.
One more thing. There is one more thing. So I have been working with HRA and HPD to get them to come to the district. And so working with HRA, we're looking at like last Fridays of the month to have them to come out to the Crown Heights Library to help folks who may need assistance with a SNAP application, public assistance, the services provided by HRA. And so we're setting that up. You should see flyers and marketing materials go out relatively soon, but I wanted to bring that to the attention of the board, and also been working with HPD's mobile unit to get them out here. That's likely going to be on a bi-monthly basis, but working with them to strategically have their mobile unit placed throughout the district. Realize that we have a lot of large apartment complexes in our district. And so we want to try to bring these resources directly to people. And so I think that the mobile unit will help in that capacity, but I just wanted to note that as well. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. At this time, we will entertain we will take questions for the district manager. Please use the raise hand function. We'll create a speakers list. And once we've exhausted the list, we're going to move on to the next item. Any questions for the district manager? Raise hand. Okay, hold on. I see our second vice chair. Who else?
Felice.
I see Ms. Robertson. Who else?
That's it.
Okay, last call. Any questions for the district manager? Okay, seeing that, we're going to close on Ms. Robertson. Vice Chair Leopold, you have the floor.
Hi, thank you so much for the opportunity. Based on the report that was given, I just have a question with the meeting setup for the community. I'm just looking forward to have to see if you can also schedule a community meetings to have a round table or forum, whatever it is that we need to do to bring in DOT to address the community as well. Because when I walk in the community, all we're seeing arising just like weed bike stations. And we don't know, the two ladies who spoke earlier on were talking about circling around, and as a driver, the same thing happened. We already didn't have space. And then the last time we mentioned it, it's just like more bike stations are coming up. Yesterday, somebody stopped me and said, are we going to do something about it? What's the community board doing about it? Because we don't have space, and I think that they are not coming to the community board. We are not aware. It's just that you go to bed and the next day you see bikes. You know, so I'm just asking that we, from your scheduling, bringing persons come in to speak to the community concerning other things that are plaguing the community. That is very important. And if you can also schedule for the DOT to come up, whoever has to come up, we have to ask them questions, because we are not, we are human, we have understanding, we need to know what's happening. It is very disrespectful to the community that no, they are not addressing us, they are not saying anything to us, and we are losing so many parking spots. Already the housing, they are taking so many parking spots with the trucks and the dumpsters and everything, and then the bikes are just taking all those spots away from the community. So I just need for us to have the community to come, and I'm asking for the community members who are there and the friends to say something. We need to say something. We need to rally together. It's terrible. Thank you.
Okay, and to that point, very briefly, that is a conversation that the chair of the transportation committee I am having with the district manager in terms of reaching out to DOT specifically, because there are a number of transportation related issues in the district. So we are reaching out to leadership in terms of having them address the committee. It's probably going to go through the committee. There may be some larger issues that we will probably end up going, and it might end up into town halls or some other forum. But that is a direct communication we are making with them. And I would also direct all the chairs for the different committees. If there are issues in terms of agencies are non-responsive, so please let the district manager know, because we're trying to set all those conversations up, or at least start engaging the elected officials to hopefully get them to join us in terms of making sure that they're responsive to us per the charter mandates. Okay, Ms. Robertson.
Okay, is this the time that I can speak on what occurred here on the marathon? Because I would like to expound on what Dante had spoke on, hearing that he said he will take care of the matter. I would just like to add to that.
I said that I started a dialogue.
Right. Is there a question? And I want to make sure we're sure. Please, let's ask questions.
So I want to make sure that I'm in the right forum to speak, or should I wait until there's another forum to expound on what occurred on that marathon day? Because I wanted to expound further on what Dante had said, which I really appreciate that he started the dialogue. I also appreciate you, Fred, or who is on the board. Okay, so do I speak now or do I speak later?
It'll probably have to, let's do this later, only because I want to make sure we get through the reports. If there's something to be said, we could probably do that as new business, or we'll address as new business. But yeah, we just want to make sure we complete the agenda, because we have a couple of voting items as well.
Okay, because I just want to make a point of the botanical garden. That gentleman that was there, Eastland, I'm sure he wasn't able to speak because you have the city, the federal, the state that funds that garden, and I needed to speak in behalf of that. Okay, because that what was done was a terrible disgrace, and I'm infuriated over what took place.
No,
so that's why I'm asking you. Do I speak now? Because I need it to be recorded. or what actually trans,
New
what
business.
actually took
Right, new
place.
business, because right now it's if there's a question for the district manager,
Okay.
we're at that section of the report.
All right, because you're gonna hear earful.
Okay, thank you. All right, y'all really late for the bell. We're gonna take them questions very
Okay,
quickly.
I'm saying the new business.
Amador?
Okay,
Okay, no, thank you, Ms. Roberts.
all right.
Mr. Almanor, Ms. Newsom, y'all late for the bell. Questions? Pick one.
I have a quick question. Can we have Citibank come and give us usage of those bikes, because some of those things are so close to each other, some of them not being used. So we could see if they could remove them.
That's a question that's actually in Transportation Committee right now. We've been working with them, and that's part of the reason why we're trying to get them to come and be responsive. So that is something we're looking at. And that is a question asked by that committee. Okay, Ms. Newsom. Ms. Newsom, you got a question for the chair, for the DM?
You're unmuted, Beverly, but we can't hear you.
Looks like she's having a problem.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
This is in reference to the district manager's report. What agencies do you meet with, and what topics are discussed? Because between Amazon, the marathon, the bus redesign, and the reconfiguration of Grand Army Plaza, that the majority of this community don't know about, and that information is completely virtual. Seems like us as a community board, not advisory, where in that committee can you make them truly engage with the community? That's DOT, MTA, all of them. Because they're not doing it right now. They're significant.
I agree 100%. And I think that Fred Wood could also speak to it, especially like the Department of Transportation. I will be honest, is one of the hardest agencies for me to work with. The notices they don't provide. With some of these city agencies, I'll just use DOT as an example. We're really trying to go through the committee, and that committee specifically asked, for representation from DOB. So we'll see if they actually provide it. Agencies that I meet with, every board member should have received the minutes from the district service cabinet this morning, which list all of the agencies that showed up. Well, the agencies that said that they were going to have representatives that showed up, and then the ones that didn't show up are in red. So those are the agencies that I meet with. You had mentioned something about Amazon. Could you be more specific about the Amazon problem?
Across the city of the borough of Brooklyn, the city of New York, are complaining about them and how they deliver packages. And we've been doing it now for years. Our elected officials are not engaging, our agencies are not engaging, and they're continuing to be given more and more of New York. It just seems like it goes back to what the lady said earlier about a community that's feeling disenfranchised and being treated disrespectfully. It goes back to that.
Okay, if I jump in on this one, just since I'm on transportation as well. The specific issues, if you let us know, because we've got a laundry list of issues we're developing with DOT right now. So it's helpful for me to be able to bring back to the committee the specific issues, so that way we can ask DOT what we can get clarification from DOT what the current scheme is, let them know what the issues are, and we can start discussing what the solutions are going to be with that. I've heard a couple of things happening with Amazon. And that might involve Amazon. I definitely know parking is an issue. Double parking is an issue. Around that as well, there are conversations about loading zones being created for Amazon to not be on the street and do certain things. All of those have different pros and cons. So it's helpful for us to understand the real pain points in the district and the community. So that way we can kind of figure out exactly where we start crafting our position as a board and as a district on that, where we stand. So I would just ask, if you could reach out to me and let me know specifically what it is, and that can be added as an agenda item. And definitely when we bring DOT in finally, we could ask that question to kind of see where we are with that.
Okay, I can do that.
Appreciate it. Okay. All right. All right. Thank you very much. That closes the list for the district manager. We are now going to go to the chair, the report of the chair. I think a number of the items have been discussed either through committees or through the district manager's report. So I will keep mine relatively brief for this evening. But just in terms of some high level, I think that through the public commentary, we've seen that there are a number of issues going on in the district. You know, in terms of services, in terms of quality of life. And I think this is something that the district office has been working very hard on. One of the things I want to echo is that we don't know what we don't know, and we really depend and rely on board members, residents, to let us know what the issues are. I think our committees are working really well in terms of, you know, trying to engage and get things done and start addressing issues, but it's important for us to be able to get the information about what the challenges are. So I want to reiterate a call for everyone. If there is an issue, please call 311. That is the first step because it registers the complaint and the issue in the city. So the city has the issue in their hands. From that step, please make sure you contact the district office because that would enable us to say, okay, now we know that there is a service complaint and the district office team can actually go and begin to try and address that. You know, I give them a lot of credit because they're very good at engaging directly to try and get a faster resolution to some of these issues. So just, you know, reiterating the message to make sure we do that, call 311, then call the CB9 office so that way we can follow up on that and make sure we try to get resolution as quickly as possible. One thing I wanted to note as well is that, you know, we're in the holiday season. So, you know, we're in spring, we're in Ramadan, we're going to be celebrating Easter, we're going to be celebrating Passover. As a result, the district office, this board, we really try and do our best to be respectful of holidays and observances. April is a tough month. So notices have been sent out to a number of the committees, and I would just advise the committees, the board members, and the and residents to please make sure you're checking the calendar and the e-blast because a lot of committee dates have changed for the month. So please make sure you're checking on that. Your usual dates may not be the same. So at least for this month, please make sure you reference that so that way you can attend your committee as you know, as necessary. Just in terms of some of the things that have been positive from the committees, I wanted to acknowledge our youth services committee who had a youth a job fair, an internship fair this past Saturday. I want to thank them for their efforts in organizing that. There were a number of organizations who came out and supported. It was really good to see. It was good to see youth being engaged. And we're trying to provide them access to services that will help them going forward in terms of getting jobs, in terms of getting internships, being able to set for their futures forward. So we're looking for, you know, I thank the committee for the work on that, and we're looking forward to even more from all of our committees. Similarly, I want to thank my own committee for transportation with respect to the town hall that was had last month as well. And you know, with regards to the Brooklyn, the B41 corridor, that is some project that is coming down. This is an opportunity for the board, as we've been told by DOT when they did speak to us, that this is not something set in stone. So truly, we have an opportunity to try and craft, or at least, you know, put our stake in the ground in terms of what are our priorities on that corridor for the entire stretch of Flatbush and for that stretch of Flatbush that is within CB9. So there will be additional feedback that we'll be soliciting, additional meetings. So we're asking for everyone to please make sure you're in touch with us to keep, you know, to continue with the feedback so that way we can make sure that our needs are being discussed before anything gets set in terms of policy and before any paint is set on the on any pavements or anything of that nature as well. Similarly, and the district manager mentioned that with regards to the Brooklyn bus network. So I want to thank the district office for sending out that documentation. That I think originally was a few 100-page document. We were able to get a document that specifically talks about the issues within our district for the bus lines. I think we're going to see some changes that are, that look promising, but we're also going to see some changes that that are concerning. So one of the things we're looking at in the committee is addressing these things, making sure that there's communication and outreach to the district so that way people can come and voice their opinions in terms of some of the proposals that are being made. I think the district office has had conversations. There is nothing imminent, but at the same time, we do want to act with a sense of urgency as well to make sure that the community's voice is being heard in the conversation. Let me see what else I have. Relatively short. Actually, the one item I do have that I think it's important for us to consider as a board is that we did receive, last month it was announced by our treasurer that he was going to be stepping down from his position. So his resignation was effective as of March 10th. So per our bylaws, we would be beginning the new process in terms of electing a treasurer, which brings an interesting question. Our process would call for the impaneling of a nominations committee this month, which would provide a report in terms of a canvas next month. And then what would happen is there is actually a ballot created, and the subsequent month we would vote. That time frame puts us in May, at which point we will be in an election cycle to fill the offices for the upcoming year, which means that it's really probably a waste of energy at this point to do that, because the person would sit for a month, and then if they decided to run again, would have to stand for election. So it's two processes that would run concurrently, which doesn't make sense. I think the last time we faced a similar situation, one of the things, I think there was a vacancy that was open. As a board, what we did do is we voted to postpone the filling of the vacancy and allow it to remain vacant until the election process, which would happen, at which point the new treasurer would be seated and take office for the upcoming year. So at this time, what I would propose, at this time, I would like to, when we go to the voting session, entertain a motion for the board to postpone the filling of the vacancy until the normal election process, which will commence as of next month. So that is all I have in terms of that. That is the one proposal that I have that I would request that the board take up as a voting item. At this time, I will entertain questions. Allow me to just take the report. The speakers list. Ms. Roan Perry, I see you. Hold on 1 second. We'll call you. I see Ms. Moses. I see Rabbi Berman. Hold on. I see Ms. Chase.
And I have a comment after all of it.
We'll take you for the comment. Hold on. All right. Are there any other members of the board who have questions at this time? Okay, I call for a second time. Are there any members of the board? I see Mr. O'Lean. I do see Mr. O'Lean. Dante, we'll keep you last. Kyrie, we'll have you after Ms. Chase.
Beverly as well.
Okay. I see Ms. Newsom. Are there any other questions? Are there any more after that?
Add Suki and add Teresa Westerdahl.
I see Suki and I have Ms. Westerdahl. Okay, is there anyone after that? Call for a second time. Anyone after that? Okay, and then after Ms. Westerdahl, we will see the district manager, and we are closing the list now. Okay, Ms. Roan Perry, you have the floor.
I'm deferring to Ms. Newsom. I think we both have the same.
Okay. All right. She's a little bit further down the list, so we'll get to her shortly. Okay, we'll move on, and Ms. Newsom will get the question. Ms. Moses.
Yes. Last time we had a vacancy, we took a motion from the floor to fill the position on a temp basis, and we've done that a couple of times. So we don't have time for a committee, and that's what we did. So I don't know if it can be done now.
It's possible, but we don't have any. Let me not say it's not possible.
It makes no sense to form a committee.
Correct.
And by the time the person gets on, they're really off because we have to vote again, later on in life.
No,
so
absolutely.
My point is that, remember now we had the secretary and the secretary that's on right now, we took from the floor. And on a temp basis, and that's how we voted. If there was anyone interested, they had a right to come forward.
I think actually we had done it from the exec, if I recall correctly. I think we had a temporary appointment from the exec, and that was pending the vote from the.
No, we had it from the floor. We've done it for years. If you go back and you will look, and the people that's been around will know that we've done it for years.
All right.
Especially with the secretary.
Okay.
We've done it for years. Huh?
Pat Moses is right.
Yes, we've done it for years.
Okay, we'll look at, okay. All right, point taken, we'll look into
So
that.
that's all I'm
He is
suggesting.
Okay, point taken. Okay, no yelling out, hold on. Point taken. Rabbi Berman. Okay, Rabbi Berman.
Thank you so much. I just want to make a very, very brief comment that regarding City Bike, I want to thank the committee, the board office, Dante and Mia. When the City Bike started going around, District 9, I reached out to them and they went through many meetings and 2 years of emails, and they were able to demonstrate that the DOT, the maps the DOT presented, they presented to the Transportation Committee, but those were not the same maps where they actually put the bikes. There were like 10 changes. So I'm not really sure what happened. I know that the board chair has been involved as well as communicating with the city, but essentially the DOT came before a committee. They presented a map. They said you have 30 days of, to give feedback. Then they went and put the bikes wherever they wanted. So I really think the blame falls on the DOT, and both Dante and Mia have worked overtime and done incredible research and really tried to fix this. I want to thank them and just publicly state that they were really good at this, and the fault really lies with the DOT, and they did not do this responsibly at all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rabbi Berman. All right, Ms. Chase.
Good evening. I just have a question about the duties of the treasurer in the interim period, assuming that we do not have someone who serves it as on a temporary basis. So what duties would be done at that time period or during this time period that won't be done because we may not have a treasurer in place? So it really goes to the question that was raised by Pat, and I guess maybe others, that perhaps the best way to go about it is to have someone elected on a temporary basis in light of what the duties or responsibilities are between now and the next election. And so really my question is really, what are the duties that are going to be foregone if we don't elect someone in the interim?
Per the bylaws, and you please forgive me, I think per the bylaws, they are supposed to, the treasurer is supposed to report on the finances of the board at a minimum annually. I think maybe it's biannual. I'd have to double check that. Otherwise, they are an elected officer of the executive committee, and they sit on the executive committee, so they'd have that vote as well. I think the reporting function is something that may or may not, because I think the previous chair was actually, previous treasurer was very good about reporting, so I think that's been satisfied. And given the short amount of time, I'm not sure. No, I take it back actually. They'll probably need to work in conjunction with the district manager in terms of, because we do have a number of activities that we're planning. So in terms of understanding budgets, in terms of understanding requests from committees, they might serve as part of that. So receiving the budget request forms, understanding what the requests are, and working with the district manager in terms of what things the board can afford and what we can't.
But I just wanted to say that to that person that they are really the overseers. Everything is basically signed off, by the chair, the district manager, and that particular person is an overseer, kind of like an auditor, to make sure everything is in place. That's it.
Okay. All right, Mr. Oline.
Good evening, everyone. So it's kind of hard speaking last because a lot was already said that I wanted to cover. So just to echo, if I can, thank you to Dante, Mia, and your efforts to the bike situation that we've been experiencing. They have done a terrific job. I've been seeing the emails going back and forth and contacting the offices. So I wanted to say thanks for that. I too wanted to speak to the need of the treasury role being replaced now. Those you just answered. So thank you, Fred, to say that the reports are somewhat there. And I believe it was Ms. Moses that's just spoken and mentioned that the executive board are supposed to be the overseers. With that being said, myself and Nicholas Almanar, as members at large, we could pick up any slack, or that's what we are supposed to do, if it's my understanding, or to help out in the interim until someone is elected on the board. That's a part of our responsibilities, I would think. So I just wanted to say those things too. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Newsom.
Two things, Fred. One, didn't we elect the secretary? She volunteered. She came up. She didn't run initially, and then she ran. And next, there's going to be a marathon on May 20th, starting in Prospect Park. They have to already have the permits. Do you guys know about it? Have they spoken to you? Should say, have they spoken to you? Transportation.
No, and that is one of the problems in terms of, that is one of the problems in terms of typically for these processes, there is the special, what is it? It's called the special permit.
SAPO?
Special activities, yeah, SAPO. Special activities permit office.
Between the permit and the redirecting of the buses and
Right.
the block off and the porta potties, they have all that stuff. Given that they're starting in May, all that stuff has been confirmed already.
Right, and the challenge we've had as a board is that normally when it comes to special activities, there's a process that there's an office the city has that they would go through that, and we would be a check off on that. The issue we had with the last one, and is definitely an issue that we need to address quickly, is that a lot of this stuff is happening and we don't know about it until after the fact. We're an FYI as opposed to being a check, a person, an entity that's supposed to be consulted with. So that's the conversation that Dante is having with these organizations and with some of these city agencies we need to talk to as well. Where no, we're not the person you send the flyer to afterwards. We need to be the organization you confer with as part of the planning process. So that's a dynamic that needs to get changed.
That knew in advance, and their community was ready because they were told.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that last part? I didn't hear. Who knew what?
There are some community boards that knew in advance, especially Manhattan. I'm told that Manhattan had a countdown sign. You have 1 week before the marathon, 5 days before the marathon.
Right, and that's something similar that they need to do here, and that is the issue we have with that, where it's like we get, I think that when Dante sent the notice out to the community, he didn't have it in his hand, and we didn't attend any meetings with regards to that either. So we didn't have notice as a board any more than the residents did, and that's a problem. So that is a conversation we are having in terms of that has to change, absolutely. So he's already reached out to New York Roadrunners, because typically they're one of the organizations that, when they have the marathons or the half marathons, they're the ones who organize those things. So that's one of the things we're looking at and trying to address that. But there needs to be a deeper conversation with these agencies that, no, we need to be a part of the planning conversation, not we get a flyer like everybody else, or we get a flyer to pass on to everyone.
When I spoke to NYPD on Saturday, they were towing this car. He said, well, I said, but I thought they weren't going to be towed till 5. He said, no, the time was changed until 2. I said, does the community board know? He said, probably not.
Yeah, that's the issue.
Accurate.
That is the issue. Sorry, say that again?
That's accurate.
Yeah, that's the issue. But that is something we're working on. The district manager is fully on that and has already started the conversations. And I fully expect to be a part of that as well. And yeah, no, we got to cut that nonsense out. Okay.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Ms. Shawn.
With regards to 205 Parkside Avenue, Dante, you said you spoke to Department of Social Services at the last district cabinet meeting.
Yeah.
At the committee meeting, we had asked them for several documents, including their contract with the city, their lease with the property owner, the site safety plan or operational plan if they had one. And I'm wondering if you asked DSS for those documents and if they have been willing to provide them.
So the site plan, operational plan, that was moved up to leadership. So you can imagine, that's extremely sensitive. So I'm going to have to wait for that info. And then I think you had asked about the contract for the establishment. So there's just one provider, which is, I think, Bronx Family Network, which is in my district service cabinet report. If you have like extremely specific questions, just send them to me directly.
Okay, but their contract, what about their contract with the city and the lease with the property owner? Are those available?
I'll have to follow up with you on that.
Okay. And the second issue that a lot of my neighbors are raising, they're very concerned about the proliferation of smoke shops on our retail corridors that are selling whatever they're selling. Regardless of whether what they're selling is licensed or not, it doesn't seem like it's very good for health, for asthma rates, to the point that you guys were making about the borough president's comprehensive land use plan that focuses on health and health disparities. That's an issue of concern that's been raised several times in my neighborhood over the last several months. So I'm wondering if we can address that.
Yeah, let me start with that. So that has definitely been something that we've been eyeing for a while, because there's been, you're right, absolutely right. There's a proliferation of them. I think some of them were done in anticipation of weed is going to be able to be sold. And maybe, I'm not sure if they understood or misunderstood the process in terms of that, or maybe they figured because that's legal, all of a sudden now they have a market that's being opened for them. But the Public Safety Committee has been working with the Office of Cannabis Management, and I think that there have been a number of notifications sent about those processes in terms of how they're running that, what the community board engagement is going to be with regards to that as well. So there's information that is going out and conversations being had. Now, that only covers the legalized marijuana shops portion. To your point about the smoke shops, that is something a little bit different that even as a city, we're still trying to get a handle on how that is handled, because of the way, I think because of the way it's enforced or not enforced, or who can enforce it, there are a lot of questions. So those are definitely questions that we need to be engaging. There may need to be some action at the state level in that sense as well. Like, for example, one of the problems is if you sell weed legally, OCM can go back and sanction you if you do something wrong. If you are selling weed illegally, they can't touch you, and there's really no agency that can go in and enforce that. And that's based on a separate conversation I've had with NYPD. So that's an area that we need to be working on in terms of, there's some loopholes that need to get closed. But that is something that is on the radar that we're trying to address and work on it and get answers for. Dante, did you have anything else with that, or?
No, that was fine.
Okay, thank you. All right, Ms. Westerdahl. Oh, listen, late flags, everyone. We got to cut it. Ms. Westerdahl, second vice chair, I will see you. And Ms. Robertson, I will see you. And then we have the DM, and then we have to move on. Ms. Westerdahl, yes.
Hi. Yeah, I was looking over the that was sent out today, and it was in a new format, which was a bit easier to understand. However, I've requested and would like to see more detail in the budget in regards to planning for events and things like that. Like, there's not enough detail in the budget as to what organizations are being used and how the money's being spent. It's better than it was, much better, but there needs to be more detail. And I'd like whoever becomes the treasurer to do that. I mean, I've asked, since Dexter Roberts was the treasurer before, and again, Kristen took quite some time to get that done. And it looks like he did. I don't know, did that? Who works on the budget? Can you tell me? And if you're going to be able to put more detail in it? in the future?
In terms of, Dante, do you want to take that one, or I'm not sure I understand?
Yeah, I produced the budget report, and I typically, well, when we had a treasurer, would meet with Christian and go over that budget report. Details, honestly, I don't know how much more details you could put in that budget. It's complicated, and I think the way that's already set up is about as easy to understand as it's possibly going to get, to be completely honest.
Well, let me help you out. First of all, everything is done by sub-objects. And so they have like categories for which you can take money in and out of. So it's not like you can just turn around and just do what you want to do. And the second thing is that the treasurer does not do the signing. What happens, you have a purchase request, then you have an approval by the district manager and the chair, and then you have a processing of the invoice. And then after that is when your treasurer comes in as kind of like an auditor. And that's how that process runs. So you have to know exactly that everything he has is sub-object out into a specific category. And I'll give you more information later if you need it.
And just as a quick note as well, there are not a lot of entities that the board money is going out to, or organizations we're giving to. We got light bills, we got, internet bills, we've got a certain amount of vendors, paper, and everything like that. So it's not a large list, and it's not necessarily a lot of discretionary spending that we do with that. Maybe every once in a while to support an event or an activity, but there's not a ton. Dante, did you want to finish with that, or?
Yeah, I was also going to say, like, these services aren't free. Like, Zoom costs money. And when you have 9 standing committees, you have to do 2 different profiles because we have meetings at the same time. Like, this costs money. And so I think Ms. Moses said it very well. In our office, we have a 3 approval process. That's the way we do it, and that's the way Borough Hall set it up. So our staff, each person, as a payment request is created, and each staff member signs on it, signs it off before it's processed. So it's not just me, it's 2 other people in the board office who see this information. As Ms. Moses said, it's in buckets. And I also believe that we've hosted Learn About Your Community Board budget sessions. I believe that you were there. If you have any specific questions, feel free to reach out.
Okay.
I think
Hi, this is Warren. Two comments.
Hold on.
Number one.
Warren, hold on. We do have 2 on the list before you. Hold on. Let's get through those. And then,
Okay, but all I wanted to say is that I have a China Park college slot.
I just want
Understood.
can I finish, please?
Very quickly, you got to wrap it up quickly because we got to move on.
Yeah, I guess my question is more in regards to just planning events, just because I had problems planning an event because I didn't know how to budget, because I didn't know what was spent in the past. So I just want to see records of what was spent in the past on just things like DJ, the whatever was spent, the tables, the chair rentals. That's all I want to know.
Okay.
I just want to.
If we can, let's take the quick answer is we haven't really spent on those kinds of things in the past. But we can take it offline and we can discuss some of the questions, more specific questions you have as well. We can discuss. Okay. Okay. So I have Ms. Robertson, I have Ms. Leopold, and Warren will take your question very quickly. Ms. Leopold, your question is?
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Robertson, your question is, I'm sorry.
Okay, so I just want to know what Beverly had mentioned, and that was the marathon. I just want to say, everyone, I want to make you aware that the next marathon is the New York City Brooklyn Half Marathon, which will be 2,000 people, April 23rd. Just wanted to say that. I want to touch on what Beverly had said. We're not made aware, and so I just wanted to mention that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And then quickly, I just want to make it clear, just make a point that my dissatisfaction was not with the board. It has to do with DOT because of the things that have been happening in our communities with DOT and our speed bumps and everything, as the board office is doing way above than we expect them to do. So my displeasure is not with them. It has nothing to do with them. It's with DOT. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, so that's exhausted the speakers list. All right, so we are now going to move on to the voting items.
I think you are calling on Warren.
Warren, I'm sorry, was your point covered? Because I thought you wanted to just get to the.
Yeah, it was covered, but I do want to make one additional statement. The marathon as head of EDC, the marathon brings in a huge amount of money, as been said, of thousands of people coming into this community. And we have to consider our shop owners, employment, etc., for one day of discomfort. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, we are now going to move on to the voting items. All right, so the first item we have on the agenda is the SLA application. So the applicant was here earlier for Patrick Steakhouse, and I believe that was, I can't remember the, Patrick Steakhouse located at 227 Rogers Avenue. The chair had stated that the committee voted in favor of the application. The applicant presented. At this time, I will entertain a motion to adopt a recommendation of the committee and approve the application.
So moved.
Okay, it's been moved by Warren Burke. Do I have a second?
I
Michael
second.
Liburd.
No, that wasn't me.
Oh, wasn't you? Who moved it?
Michael Liburd.
Liburd.
Ah, oh, okay, Warren.
I know, we look alike.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so moved by Michael Liburd, and the second was heard like 3 or 4
Francisco.
seconds. And Francisco Leopold seconds. All right, any questions? Any debate? Call for a second time. Is there any debate? Okay, hearing none, we are going to call the question. At this time, I will ask, is there any objection to common consent to approve this motion?
Not by me.
Okay, hearing none, the application is approved by a common consent by the board. Thank you very much. We're going to move on to the next item, which was the street co-naming for Crown Street between Albany and Troy Avenues oh gosh, what I said.
Home Chayim Way.
Thank you very much for the save, Rabbi Berman. Okay, so it was, the applicant was here and they presented before the board earlier. They went before the Transportation Committee, which voted unanimously in support of the application. So at this time, I will entertain a motion to adopt the recommendation to approve the street co-naming. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion.
I have it moved by, was that Michael Liburd?
It sounded like. Oh, no, it was Liburd?
That's what I heard.
Wasn't me. Wasn't me.
It wasn't
It
you.
was Warren.
It was Warren.
Okay.
It was the other Michael Liburd. Yes, it was moved by Warren Burke. And the second, who's the second? Oh, Yakov Pearson?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, Yankee Pearson, seconded by Yankee Pearson. All right, any discussion?
I would like to quickly address some of the questions before very briefly. The board recently named multiple parts of a large part of Utica, Little Guyana, I believe it was. Is that correct?
Guyana, that's correct.
Guyana, I'm sorry.
G-U-Y-A-N-A,
Guyana,
that's
I'm
correct.
sorry. I apologize. Even though that's there are multiple businesses there from different groups. This particular nonprofit fits the criteria under the city's rules. And I think that if there are other nonprofits that also fit the criteria, we should support that as well. And just because other nonprofits did not apply does not mean that somebody who fits the criteria had a tremendous impact on the community, has a 120-year history in the community, and is in a part of the community which is, I would say that part of Crown Street is 95% members of, or 90% members of the Lubavitch community. I think it's a reason to support. And again, I would support any nonprofit that fits the criteria if it makes sense. So thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Rabbi Berman. Is there any more debate? Any other debate? Call for a second time. Is there any more debate?
I just want to abstain for that vote. So if you're gonna do it as a whole, I don't know how that would work.
All right. Okay, no, duly noted. Okay, so let's call the question at this time. Unless there's objection, let's do it by voice vote. All those in favor of approving the proposal to for the co-naming, please say aye.
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 Okay.
Aye.
Are there any members in opposition? Please state your name for the record.
Yanela Roan Perry.
Duly noted. Yanela Roan Perry in opposition. Any other members of the board who wish to vote in opposition?
Celeste Chase.
Celeste Chase, duly noted. Celeste Chase is in opposition. Any other members?
Beverly Newsom.
Beverly Newsom, you sound just like Yanela Roan Perry now too. Duly noted. Duly noted. Beverly Newsom in opposition. Any other members?
Maybe we should go one by one.
I mean, unless there's a lot more. Okay. No, we've got this. We've got this. Anyone else in opposition? Please state your name for the record. Hearing none.
You
Anyone?
included me, right?
Did you want to vote no or abstain?
Oh, okay, I got you. Sorry.
Right. Okay. So I'm calling now. Are there any abstentions? Any members who wish to abstain at this time?
Blackwell.
Rashida.
Augustine.
Okay. I see Rashida Sadiq abstains. Please note Augustine Blackwell abstains. Are there any other members who wish to abstain?
Should go one by one.
I think Nicholas.
No, I voted in favor.
Thank you. Are there any other members? Are there any other members of the board who wish to abstain at this time? Okay, hearing none, I hear a majority of the board. Madam Secretary, how many noes and how many abstentions did you count?
I've got three oppositions and 2 abstentions.
Okay, 3 in opposition. 3
Perry, Celeste Chase, and Beverly Newsom, opposition. Rashida and Augustine abstain.
Okay, I hear a majority voting in favor. The ayes have it. The application is approved. Okay. All right. At this time, just to make this nice and official, per our bylaws, typically we have a ballot that is actually set up. To expedite the filling of the vacancy for the treasurer, I would entertain a motion at this time to have a vote for an interim treasurer at the April meeting. And anyone who is interested in running as a candidate needs to submit their name or be nominated by April 15th. That will allow, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Fred. I was just making the motion.
Oh, okay. All right, so it's been moved to have the vote at the April meeting and
You
all
need a
nominations.
second?
Yeah, well, hold on, I'm just restating it. Is there a second?
Yes,
Yeah.
Tessa Hackett Vera.
Seconded by Tessa Hackett Vieira. Any discussion? Madam Secretary, the motion is for the board to elect, to have a vote for an interim treasurer at the April meeting. And all nominations need to be submitted to the board office by April 15th.
So it's one motion.
Yeah, one motion.
Okay.
Okay. So the purpose of this is so that way, because we have to have a ballot. So the ballots have to be done prior to the election, but we'll be able to get that done and we can conduct the vote at the April meeting. Okay, are there any questions? Is everyone clear?
No, I have a question.
Yes,
We
ma'am.
normally take it from the floor. We don't really, I remember the times that we've done it, we've taken it, the motion from the floor.
Right, and the challenge with that is
Wait a
that
minute,
our,
well, wait a minute. What I'm saying is that we took motions from the floor. I don't think it's appropriate for us to send it into the district office who has absolutely nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
the challenge with that is if we've taken it from the floor, that is actually contrary to our bylaws, because our bylaws say that we're supposed to do it by a ballot, a written ballot. So we've been doing it electronically. So the problem would have to be, we should have a ballot to do that. So the best way for us to accomplish that is that any nominations are sent into the district office. So self-nominations, if you wish to run, you submit to the office by April 15th, and whoever has declared their candidacy will be on the ballot for the April meeting. That keeps us consistent with the bylaws, because the bylaws call for a ballot.
But I don't want to challenge you. All I'm saying is that what we've done with the past 6 years, we've taken the motions from the floor, which is recorded. And if you, and that's how we've done it. We've never, ever done it through any district office. And I'm just saying, it's not according to the bylaws, because if we've done it for the past 6 years, I don't understand what you're saying.
And what I'm saying is it's not necessarily been consistent with the bylaws is the challenge. And this, I think, brings us closer into compliance with our bylaws. So that's the argument. Okay, so we do have the motion on the floor. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any more debate on this? Otherwise, I think-
Well, my apologies, Fred. I'm sure you said it before numerous times. My internet went out. Is it possible? Can you repeat? Because I'm sure I'm going to have to cast a vote.
Right. The motion is for the board to elect an interim treasurer at the April meeting. And all candidates who are interested in running need to submit their names to the board office by April 15th.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. Ms. Westall, what is your question?
Yeah, what about having Dexter?
Okay, we're not taking the names now. I'm saying is the motion on the floor is if he wishes to run or if he wishes to be nominated, if he wishes to be nominated, he can submit his name and run.
But what about for this next month? Can't he fill in? Can we not fill in right now?
I think that, we're okay for another month, and actually we're going into another election cycle right after that. So I don't think there's a dire need to have a treasurer in place there. We can seat somebody by the April meeting. And remember, they're really a placeholder because we're going into an election cycle as of next month anyway. Okay. All right. Are we ready for the question? Can we call the question?
Question.
Yes, Mr. Pruitt.
Does this job pay?
Yes, it's double your community board salary.
Oh, okay. All right.
Can we move on?
That was funny.
Yes, we are going to call the question at this time. Ms. Newsom, I see your hand up. Did you have a question?
What we're getting ready to vote on is, finish that sentence, please.
Okay, the motion we are voting on, everyone, the motion on the floor is for CB9 to have an election at the April General Board meeting for an interim treasurer.
Got it.
All those who are interested in running need to submit their names to the office by April 15th.
Got it.
Okay, a ballot will be created and they will be able to run and they will address the body and we'll continue from that standpoint.
This proposal that someone be nominated from the floor now?
No, it's probably a lot messier right there. Just have them everybody self-nominates. It's easier.
So right now we're voting on whether to have an election in April.
An election in April, and everyone who wants to be a candidate has to submit by April 15th.
I have one more question.
Thank you.
I want to know, for somebody to run for executive board position, do they not have to serve for a year first? I believe that's in the bylaws. Is that true?
I believe you are correct, but I believe everybody on the board at this time is probably eligible. I believe everyone on the board at this time is eligible. If there is an issue with that, we can vet that prior to.
Well,
Yeah.
you just vet it, that's all.
I'd like to know this.
I think we should move on with the vote.
Yes, I would like to move on with the vote.
We need to move on. It's
Well,
time.
listen, okay. Order of the day. All right, we are calling the question. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 That wasn't enthusiastic, people. All right. All those who are in opposition, please say no. All those who are in opposition, please state your name for the record, so the secretary can record you. Anyone in opposition? I'll call for a second time. Are there any members in opposition to the motion? Please state your name for the record.
But isn't Patricia in opposition?
I'm sorry?
Oh, Lord. No, I'm not in opposition.
Okay. All right. Last call. Any members in opposition, please state your name for the record. Hearing none. Are there any members who wish to abstain? Please state your name for the record. Call for one final time. Are there any members who wish to abstain? Please state your name for the record. Okay, hearing none. I heard I heard a majority say in favor. I heard no, none in opposition and no abstentions. Please note that for the record, Madam Secretary. Motion carries. We're going to have an election for an interim secretary in the April meeting. Okay.
Treasurer.
Treasurer. I'm sorry.
Interim treasurer.
Treasurer.
Thank you. I didn't mean to try and replace you, Madam Secretary. Okay. All right. There is no unfinished business. We have no, we have, yeah, there's no unfinished business at this time for the board to consider. New business. Is there any new business very quickly?
Yes, I wanted to speak on what I heard at the marathon. Is this my cue?
Okay. Is this with regards to the marathon?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this. If I could ask, because this is something that has absolutely been in the purview of Transportation Committee, and it's a conversation. If we can carry to that committee, I think it might be better served because we can flesh it out and create something from there.
Let her talk. She's
But I need to talk because I really need to emphasize the destruction that took place here. Washington
Okay,
Avenue.
so
Really
give her
good.
3 minutes. Give her 3 minutes,
Right.
please.
Okay. Okay.
Aren't we in a voting session
I've
now?
been trying to get on.
No, we're a new
Please allow
business
me
at
to
this time.
speak.
Okay, we're a new business.
Okay.
All right, please, you have.
What took
Okay,
place
please keep it-
here? What took place here is that at 5 o'clock, they said, okay, we're getting ready to start, 5 o'clock Sunday. Okay, I'm moving ahead too much. Friday, I noticed that they were gonna have a marathon here, Friday. That didn't give us enough time to prepare. All right. Then they put the porta potties against the botanical gardens where you can really smell the shit and the urine. Okay, literally. We had 22,000 people because they called it out. That was totally necessary. The fence was 7 feet tall, taller than me. Yes, tall. Then you have a 4-foot fence. Then you have a police guard. Okay, we could not get out. We had to go to one extreme to the next. You had handicapped people. You had others with canes. Where we go? And then when I to the police officer, I have to say this, as one of the 71st Police Council, none of my 71st police officers were here. They were from other precincts. So what they said was this.
All that passing with a bad audio.
Okay, Mr. Pruitt. Go ahead, continue.
Because too many mics are open.
You have police surveillance. The police surveillance is so strong that they said to us, we want to make sure there wasn't a terrorist attack. A terrorist attack on Washington Avenue. I said, you want the terrorists here. How is it that you're having a marathon and see that the terrorists would attack us and you want it here? This cannot be permitted. So let me go further. The people in the garden couldn't even get to work. Let me go even further. They had a prepared someone that they had an event that was supposed to be here, and they couldn't even do that. The event. You had people that lived on the block. We get back on the block without showing ID. God forbid they didn't have it. So to mention to go further, yes, the cars was broken, okay, by carrying it out. Yes, you had hits on the cars, okay, right? Okay. Tax-paying people who told them it's okay. Because I do remember them coming to the transportation committee one time, this group, one time, and I asked them. They just selected and someone said, okay, it's not okay. The park is right across. But they had to disrupt Washington Avenue. I am furious about this. Okay. I ride my and I drive to okay, I pay taxes here. I'm furious. The disrespect, my God. My parents been here since 1970, and this is what I have to endure. Like this, yes. Okay? I had to say.
No, absolutely. And I think that a lot of the points you're saying are definitely sentiments that have been expressed this evening, and it is definitely something we're on right now. I expect that there'll be conversation about this in transportation, and definitely the district office is also in the process of having conversations because there's a lot broken with the system in terms of the way this entirely went down. So that is something that we are going to be addressing, and you will be hearing more on this. And absolutely, I would recommend for Ms. Robertson and anyone who had specific complaints or specific issues or specific instances, please make sure you send that to the community board, so that way, to the district manager, so that way we can address it from those perspectives, and especially where those breakdowns happen, and document those. All right, I see 2 members, and we need to make it quick.
I have pictures.
No, and please make sure we get those in, and let's document those in any instances and times and things of that nature. I do see Mina Lagut, and I see Michael Liebert. Mr. Pruitt, I'll catch you right after that. Got you. Mina, you have the floor.
I wanted to just say, as I'm a runner and I've run that race a few times, and one of the things that we as runners did not realize until a couple of weeks before the race, was that the race start had moved. That race actually in the past few years started inside the park. The only reason why it was not started within the park this year was because the park was being paved, and DOT did not give everyone notice that they were going to pave the park circle, so the race could not start within the park the way it normally does. That's why everything was a disruption of Eastern Parkway as well as Washington Avenue. So I understand the outrage. Also, you have to understand the pride because as a member of the community, for people to come worldwide, this isn't just a race that is run by New Yorkers. This race, people came from outside the country because it's one of the biggest marathons, half marathons. People came outside of the country to run this race. So that's another reason why the security was heightened as it was. But as a member of the community who's able to walk to one of the races, because the race, I had to be there at 6 o'clock in the morning. So coming from Manhattan, the Bronx, wherever it is, people are leaving their houses 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning to get to the race start. It's not the biggest thing in the world. It's a race. Honestly, it's people putting their one foot in front of another for 13.1 miles. But the sense of pride to be a part of the neighborhood, people are like, oh, this is Brooklyn. There are people coming from around the world saying, oh my gosh, this is Brooklyn. Oh, we're safe. We feel X, Y, or Z. But people were annoyed because, yes, Washington Avenue, as runners, we were like, why are we being tortured? Because to run up and down Washington, it's a hill. So the runners were not happy with this, but the way it was executed, maybe if DOT had given some sort of advance notice that the park was going to be repaved, maybe they would have changed the route earlier or have more notice. But because that wasn't done, everyone, even at the end, like I'm saying, 2 weeks before the race, I was like, what do you mean that we have to run up and down those, people were not prepared to run those hills because no one told us until the end, until almost the very end that, the route has changed. So everyone was like looking on social media, like, what do you mean the route has changed? So it was a lot of, I think it was the DOT who just did not tell people, that this was being done inside the park. So the race had to be moved outside the park because everything, all the bag check that was done on Franklin Avenue, that's usually done within the park. There are so many other things that were done within the park that you would not even know that there was a race if not for Flatbush Avenue. So that's all I have to say.
Okay, no, and thank you for that perspective as well. So that's useful. Still, DOT needs to talk to us better, but thank you for that perspective as well. I thought I saw Michael. Did you have a comment?
I was just going to ask: is Washington Avenue, is that the borderline for CB8 as well? Do we share that street with CB8?
No, Washington is ours. Washington is ours.
Okay.
The
All right,
Parkway
thanks.
we split. Yeah. No worries.
Got it.
Thank you. And Mr. Pruitt, I know you had your hand up as well.
Ms. Leopold, shouldn't we be announcing the May 4th mental health symposium under new business? Ms. Leopold?
Let's hold on that one. Has the committee, I know that the exec hasn't seen it yet, so let's hold off on that because I think there's still some work being done. But we'll make sure that that's, once that's finalized, and we'll make sure there's an announcement.
Yes,
But
Mr.
thank you for bringing that.
Pruitt, I'm meeting with the board office staff to finalize stuff, and then we'll be putting it out there.
Okay, I don't know if you were here earlier, but Karen Crawford was here, and she told me that the DA's office is going to participate.
Yes, I know. She told me about it. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
But we'll be meeting, and we'll be sending out the flyer. I will be sending out the flyer.
Okay, thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Westerdahl.
Yeah, hi. Today, Martina called me, who used to serve on the EP committee, and she let me know that there's an event happening on April 3rd at 3 p.m. on Sullivan and Franklin, where they will be using the money. The EP committee, not this session, but last session, put in for a budgetary request for some funds. And I think Christian LeBeau and Martina worked on that as part of my committee, environmental protection. So they had that fund, and Martina's been trying to use it. And she has the kids from the school coming. Cliff is coming, who does the tree pits on Rogers. It's quite a good event. So I just wanted everybody to know, because it's going to be happening before our next meeting. And she just let me know today. She called me earlier.
Send the information to the board office.
I just wanted everybody to know.
Send it to the board office. Everybody will find out.
Absolutely. So if we just make sure, if we could send that announcement, we'll make sure that goes out as part of the blast. Thank you for that. Okay. So I think that concludes our new business. We've completed our agenda. I want to thank all the board members for your energy, and for being, for doing the work of for the district. Please, again, make sure that you watch the calendars and watch your emails. A lot of the committee dates have changed for the month, so make sure that you have accounted for that. Again, we're going to be voting for an interim treasurer next month. That'll be part of the agenda. And we just got a lot of work to do. But I want to thank everyone for all of your hard work, for your service. And everyone, please enjoy the holidays. Happy spring. For those who are Ramadan, please, happy Ramadan as well. Happy Easter early, and happy Passover as well. At this time, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Moved by Augustine Blackwell. Do I have a second?
Yes. Go
I
ahead.
have a second by Tessa Hackett. All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Majority, we stand adjourned.
Thank you. Have a great night, everyone. Bye-bye.
Who was the
Thank
second
you very
by?
much, and enjoy the
Seconded
rest of
by?
the day.
Tessa Hackett Vera.
Tessa, okay, thank you.